some uh-ohs, as I would call them. Uh-oh, 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 like uh-oh, uh-oh.
Uh-oh, indeed, chat. How's it going? I accidentally started and didn't realize that we hadn't started. But I'm here now. It's been a busy, busy day for me. I'm hard at work. Yes, like to stream. I'd much appreciate it if you do that. It's always helpful. How's it going, you chatters? We've had a bit of a fun little day. Not a good day for the toe. Not a good day for the baldo. Unfortunately. Even though Aaron paid me $10, I'm afraid I'm going to have to talk about him tonight. He's on the run. He's playing chained together for real. Actually, I chained my ceiling cats together, and now they're actually facing the right direction. We got it fixed. And I didn't plan to do another stream today. Actually, I wasn't going to. I had other plans actually, but there is a new motion to dismiss response, and why the defendant is not entitled to a Frank's hearing. But first, as you know, I was hard at work in my own bunker today, doing my Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, episode 1. It's about halfway done. I'll give you a little taste of it, okay? I know most of you don't care about it, but I do. Okay. It's only 30 seconds, non-spoiler, of what you can expect from Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, Season 2. I think it's from about here, right? No, it's about here. It's a 2-to-1 vote against Elrond, with Gil-Gadaddy and Galadriel in favor of getting blinged up.
Give them to me.
Which means that Elrond's got to take the reins of power into his own hands.
I'm telling you, I didn't do anything.
I can't.
I have to put a Simpsons reference in every stream. It's a requirement as an Australian. There you go. But I won't annoy anyone who doesn't want what you're here for. I know what stuff you're here for tonight. Don't worry, we're going to get into it. You may have already seen it, actually, because I think Sean and Legal Mindset went over it already. But actually, we had a bit of spice today. A bit of spice directly from Spice in Minnesota, as Nick decided to live seethe in Sean's chat today, dropping $100 to make a sandwich joke. And also, he's been on a bit of a seethe session. Apparently, he was blocked by the Legal Mindset, and he responded saying, "Lady boy pussy? Lady boy pussy?" I guess we'll have to wait and see. But, well, I think we'll go into the short stuff first. Even though Aaron isn't short, he is I found out that Aaron's a liar. The toes, and there's another L for the toes today. Aaron said he was 6'4". Well, I'm looking at his arrest warrant, and it says he's 6'3". I thought he was taller than me. We're actually the same height. Although he is a little bit lighter, I'll be honest. He's only 220 pounds, which is probably my ideal weight. But, you know, it's been a very delicious summer this year. But anyway, this is, as I understand it, I don't think there's been any updates. It is a long weekend in America. Aaron is on the run. Let me see. Last updated. A warrant is a court order to apprehend the individual. And I think Sean said that he had received representation, and maybe they've sent the cops a message saying, "Oh, we'll come in on Tuesday or something." Doesn't want to spend the long weekend in jail, which is reasonable, I think. But I got some chats to talk about first. Let's see. X-Cuba with the 50. He says, "Just watching Sean. Much rather watch you, though." Oh, appreciate it. The proper, famous Japanese lawyer. No, I'm not a lawyer. I'm a non-practicing non-lawyer, but that's the way it is. Let me see. D-Watt says, "DM X-Ray Girl, go there because you have great criticisms." I assume this is in regards to the Rings of Power, but let me check something. X-Ray Girl. Yeah, it's as I thought. See, X-Ray Girl is a verified Twitter user, and my account isn't, which means I can't DM her. So I'll just do my reviews of Rings of Power, and if people notice it, that's cool. That's cool. Let me see. I heard there's a typhoon going on in Japan right now. That is true, but I'm fine. Don't worry about it. Although I got some funny pictures of the typhoon on my Twitter. Let me see. Where is it? Here it is. It's pretty bad, actually. Like, this is what it's like in Japan in some parts. It kind of skipped my area, so I don't have to worry about this. This wasn't my photo, but I was joking that we've got new municipal swimming pools. But this is just the subway is just completely flooded out. I don't know where this is actually. No bicycles down there though. It's dangerous. That is a lot of water. But I'm sure people will be safe. Tropical depression, Shanshan, right? Shanshan, bringing flooding concerns to Japan. I guess that's what they call it. There's like 2 typhoons that are one of them skipping my area and heading straight to Busan. So if you, Jeff, you're gonna get what you deserve. No, just kidding. Love Jeff, of course. I was on his stream today. And Nova has a prediction that Aaron is going to jail for 90 days. My guess. I don't know. What do you guys think? How long do you think Aaron will serve? I think if he shows up, he'll be okay. As long as he doesn't actually try and go on the fugitive. I guess it was kind of appropriate that I played that little fugitive reference I had from The Simpsons at the beginning of the stream. Now, the thing is, Aaron had a probation as well as again, as I understand it. I'm not the biggest toe guy. As much as I really want to go to Sonny's or Stoney's bar in Minnesota. I'm not the biggest toe bro. But I think he had a probation order for a year for domestic violence. Is that correct? Maybe somebody can illuminate me on that one. But here is the document on his, I believe this is the statement of probable cause. We'll go into that. We'll go into that first. You can place your bets in the chat. Who's going to do more time, Nick or Aaron? It's probably either of them will both get community service or something, if we're being honest. We'll see. We'll see. Let me see. So, the state of Minnesota, county of Stearns. The complainant submits this complaint to the court and states that there is probable cause to believe defendant committed the following offenses. Count 1. Non-consensual dissemination of private, lewd images, intentionally disseminating image without consent. Oh my goodness. Charge description. The defendant, Aaron Imholte, then and there being, did wrongfully, unlawfully, feloniously, and intentionally disseminate an image of another person who is depicted in a sexy, lewd act, or whose intimate parts are exposed when the person is identifiable and without the person's consent, and did so with the intent to harass the person depicted in the image. Oh my goodness, that's a bad thing to do, Aaron. Don't share nudes. Now, the interesting thing is that Kayla's like the illustrated woman. She's covered in tattoos, so it's very easy to identify her. So it's unlikely that Aaron will be able to say, well, this could be any chick. It's very clearly the Citizen Kane titties that feature the rosebud on the nip. Well, actually, I don't know if it's on the nips, but there's like a rose or something on the tits, as I understand it. I haven't seen it myself. Count number 2, non-consensual dissemination of private lewd images, intentionally disseminating images without consent. Charge description. The defendant, April. Why do I keep saying April? Jesus Christ. It must be because it's Saturday for me. I guess it's like Friday morning for everyone else. April. I did it again. Holy shit. Aaron, then and there being, did wrongfully, unlawfully, feloniously, and intentionally disseminate the image of another person who is depicted in lewd act or is in intimate parts or exposed when the person is identifiable. So it's the same thing, but it's 2 counts. One is a felon and one is a gross misdemeanor. And let's see, the first one carries a penalty of 3 years imprisonment or a $5,000 fine, or the gross misdemeanor, 364 days in jail or a $3,000 fine. Statement of probable cause. The complaint state. Oh, can I get my highlighter on this? Look at that. Wow, look at that. So I know how to do it now. It was there all along. Is there an opacity tab for this? Or just thickness? Yeah, it's fine. On July 17th, law enforcement took a report of an unauthorized dissemination of lewd images, and it was a complaint from KR. That's, let me see, KR. There we go. Oh my God, this is not working. Should have gone to MS Paint. Never mind. Kayla Rekieta, fully identified in police reports, called in to report Aaron, and they sent another individual a nude photo of her without her consent on July 19th. Kayla Rekieta, Nick Rekieta, and April Imholte, all fully identified in police reports, met with law enforcement. And this is the big one that people are... It's not... This thing isn't working for me, guys. This thing isn't working for me. Where's my thing? There we go. There we go. Get rid of it. We'll just use our imagination. This is the big one that people are talking about because Nick has made such a stink about being a snitch. or going and telling people telling the teacher on people. And also, it is quite a hypocritical thing to happen because Nick talked very early on in his streaming career about why you don't share nudes. And I think I had a video for that somewhere. Did I save it? Maybe it was in my thing folder. Let me see. I may have missed it. That's unfortunate if I did. But I think you guys know the clip. He's sitting with Draxel and he's saying, "This is why you'll never ever see me or my wife nude. And certainly it'll never be digital, even if such pictures did exist, because they always leak out, and they always get split around, and when it's on the internet, it's on forever. It's a bad thing to happen." Yeah, I'll check my tax folder. It's probably in there. Actually, no such tax folder exists on my computer because I'm tax-free. That is right. That is right. But running to the government, interesting move. Now, I'll be frank. I think what Aaron did was a shitty thing. I don't think you should share private images like that, especially if they were sent to you in confidence. But we don't know that. We don't know the story. We don't know the exact state. But what happened in my recollection, because I remember seeing a clip of this, is that it was an episode of the Steel Toe Morning Show, and they were sitting down, and it was Aaron and Geno. Now, apparently Geno lives in New York, I learned today. And Aaron had his phone out. And he was looking at pictures, and he was like, "Oh, look at these titties. I love these titties. Hey, you want to check these titties out, Geno?" And he sends them over a message, and it'll say this in the report as we go through, because we're going to go through the whole thing. But Geno takes a look and he's like, "You know what? Maybe I do like tattoos," implying that it is Kayla's breasts that are being exposed. Now, we don't know the exact context of the picture, but it has been suggested today by, I believe, Keanu, who is like another minor character in the Steel Toe Morning Show expanded universe or something. She said that she'd seen the picture, as I guess she is like Geno's wife or something. And she said it wasn't a selfie. It was definitely a posed photograph that may have been taken by someone. Now, did Aaron take it and then Kayla sent it back to him? Did Nick take it and send it to Aaron? It's a little bit confusing. We don't know the exact details. But the one detail we are sure of is that it's degenerate. And it shouldn't have happened. And it's disgusting. And it's embarrassing. So let's continue. Kayla Rekieta, I'll just call her Kayla from now on, shall I? Reported over the course of several months, Nick, and April, and Defendant communicated via an app called Signal. Now, Signal is like I think it's like Telegram, basically. It's like an encrypted app that I think deletes your messages after a while, or if you delete them, it deletes them for everybody. So in theory, if you're having some lewd, salacious conversations, you can delete them at any moment's notice. And Nick insists that everyone uses Signal if they talk to him. Now, I don't bother with that sort of shit because I'm not that paranoid. But I don't have a problem with anyone that does. Like, some people are like, "Well, you've got something to hide, right?" No, there's nothing wrong with being confidential, right? Everyone likes to feel that sense of privacy. Although it is kind of weird to talk about privacy when you're sharing pictures of your wife with people, or she's sharing pictures of herself with people, but who can say? The purpose of the app was to keep things private among each other, and they all agreed nothing would be shared to others. Well, I guess that didn't work out as intended. Kayla then sent nude photographs via Signal. Why would she do that? Now, Nick has not come out and said that there is any swinging. He has not come out and said there's any throuple, despite the fact that we know that there is. Despite all the allegations, the hedonism trips, the hand jobs in Minneapolis, the hookers, Jamaican hookers suggested by Camelot, the wife swinging confirmed by Aaron. It's pretty obvious. It's real. But he's never actually said that, and maybe that is to protect his integrity with his remaining audience. Who knows? Because it is quite a departure from what he said in the past. Now, let me see. Where was I? In April, there was a breakdown. Is that... Hey, look, when Nick has a breakdown in April, he has to go get a blue pill. But in April, there was a breakdown, and the defendant started talking negatively about Nick Rekieta and April on an online talk show. In May, he started talking negatively about Kayla as well. At the end of April or beginning of May, defendant started sharing details of the relationship on his talk show. This is a terrible idea. Don't share all your dirty details as a show. I know Aaron's show is about himself, but keep some stuff private for For God's sake, okay. At the end of April or beginning of May, Defendant started sharing details of the relationship on the talk show. On May 27th, Defendant had Geno fully identified in police reports on his talk show. During this show, Defendant sent Geno a text, which was a nude pic of Kayla. She did not consent to this. Now, this is an interesting idea. Now, I would take Kayla's report at her word, because if I sent a picture like that, I would not want anyone sharing it as well. But there is an element of exhibitionism in this household. You can see the photos in locals, the Ash Wednesday, bottles between asses, posing nude in Jamaica. How really confidential are these people? Now, like I said, I would say that Kayla, the default opinion would be that she doesn't want people sharing her nudes. But she has been very forthcoming with them in the past, and it may be something to consider. It may be a factor. And it may be part of Aaron's defense. He might say, Your Honor, I had no idea that she did not want this photo. She sent it to me willingly, and she sends these out all the time. I had no idea. It might not hold up, but it is an idea that he could use. And we'll go on to there's some interesting locals cope that we're going to read after this. So trust me, it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. And also, I'll also go and say that, like, one of the elements of revenge porn, as this is what the charge is did Aaron do this to disrupt Kayla's life? Or was he just sharing this photo with a bro? And he actually used very positive of Kayla in this interaction. Again, I still think you should never do this. This is inexcusable. But was he trying to destroy Kayla's life, or was he just trying to, that something he was proud of? That's another factor of his state of mind. Did he have the mens rea, the criminal mindset? We'll have to find out when he turns himself in, I assume. If he goes on the run, that'd be even more keno, though. Hey, Aaron, we're looking like there might be a dearth of, not a dearth, there might be a lack of content coming up in September. So if you go on your fugitive spree, they'll be very entertaining. The secret will be he'd be hiding at Stoney's the whole time and nobody would know. But again, who could say? Let me see. April Imholte reported that these pictures shared via the Signal app. The relationship ended in April. She found out on July 12th that the defendant sent the photograph to Geno. And they both so April texted both Geno and Keanu, I think KT, is either Kelthazard, Calthalas, or Keanu Thompson. So Geno and Calthalas, or whatever. Balanor, Falashoranore, right, my boys? No, only the real G's in the chat will get that one. Let me see. April texted both Geno and Keanu, fully identified in police reports, who both had confirmed that Geno received a nude photo of Kayla on May 27th, looked at the defendant's phone records, which confirmed a sent picture/video on Geno's phone on May 27th, which would have been during the time on his talk show, because it was, of course, in the morning. A review of defendant's talk show from May 27th, it shows the defendant and Geno participating. The two of them talk about Kayla and about her tattoos. The defendant is then seen scrolling through his phone, and it looks like he is taking a screenshot and then tells Geno to look at his phone. Geno then looks at his phone and says, I like tattoos more than I thought. Defendant then responds, your boy didn't do too bad, did he? Kayla is then talked about in an explicit manner. Yes, they describe the rosebud. Geno confirmed he received a nude photograph of Kayla from defendant on May 27th. During the show, he described Kayla as standing completely nude with her breasts fully exposed. He further described a tattoo under Kayla's left breast in the photograph. Later, law enforcement was able to confirm with Kayla that she did have that tattoo under her breast. Did they send another photo out? Now, who can say? Geno then deleted the photograph after. Keanu stated she saw the photograph on Geno's phone. Geno received a text from defendant, which was a photograph of Kayla Rekieta, nude. Keanu Thompson described Kayla as standing completely nude with both breasts fully exposed. Keanu said Kayla was identified by the photograph, and she knew it was Kayla based on the photograph. Confirmed, and Keanu then confirmed that Geno deleted the photograph. Law enforcement spoke to the defendant. He acknowledged the relationship and using the Signal app. It's another L for the toe today. Like, this is where Aaron starts to make some mistakes. I mean, apart from sharing nudes, which is always a mistake. Law enforcement spoke to defendant. He acknowledged the relationship and using the Signal app. Should have had a lawyer present. However, defendant stated he did not recall ever receiving or sending a nude photograph of Kayla. That's going to be a little bit hard to... This is going to be a hard argument to push, considering there's video evidence of you having it and saying it. I mean, we didn't see it on the show, right? They could have been role-playing and pretending. But the fact that that Geno confirmed this means that defense is not going to hold any water. He later said he did not want to definitely say he had never received a nude photograph, but he cannot recall being sent one. Defendant acknowledged to using Signal. This is why you don't talk to cops. Don't self-incriminate. Defendant resides in Stearns County. Additionally, defendant's studio is in Stearns County, and he was in his studio when he sent the photograph. Defendant has an online talk show where he live streams multiple times a day. Well, that's a bit confusing if it's the morning show. Cheers, watch you go for 2 says for next several weeks it has to be Steel Toe Roadshow. Very good, very good. On the road again. On the road again. Very good, very good. Defendant has an online talk show where he live streams multiple times a day, leading up to this offense. And since the incident occurred, defendant often talks about Kayla and things between them. Yeah, he went on a bit of a simping spree, which is a bit cringe. Although I think, to be honest, that most of the things that Aaron said were more to get at Nick than anything else. The way that Aaron was talking, he was like, well, Kayla and I were in love. Kayla, she needed me. When Nick would make her angry, then he would yell at her on the bathroom floor, and then he would come to Aaron and say, you go fix her, because only Aaron can fix that woman that broken. I think a lot of the things he said, I think Aaron said when he was vulnerable, and he was trying to hurt Nick with a lot of those statements. So, I don't know. You'll have to be your own judge on this one, because obviously we can't know the state of mind of Aaron. But I think that is a big contributing factor in all of this, is that there's a lot of hurt feelings going around here. And I think that this entire complaint is because of butthurt feelings, basically. They're really mad that they were degenerate and they got caught, and now they're striking back at Aaron, who's been making fun of them and, kind of riding this all the way to the bank. So why not, right? Why not? Why not use the government that you hate so much as a weapon against your enemies? It's, rules for thee, but not for me. Don't talk to the cops. Don't talk to the government. They're all shills. They're all rats. But, when I've got a problem, maybe the government's not so bad, eh? Anyway, defendant... Oh, we read that part. Let's see. Defendant often talks about Kayla and things between himself, Kayla, Nick, and April. Comments made during the live streams are concerning, especially in light of this incident. The state believes defendant will not stop and will not stop and continue to harass Kayla unless conditions are sent. Given that, the state is requesting a body on bench warrant to be issued. A little fly flying around. Complaint has reason to believe and does believe that all of the above is true and complete and incorrect. The above facts constitute your complaint's basis for believing that the above named defendant is on or about the 28th day of May, 2024, in the County Stearns, state of Minnesota, committed the offenses described herein. And then there's some signatures and approvals from court officers, electronically signed, then the prosecuting attorney, and finding a probable cause. Let's have a look from here. Let's see. So warrant executed nationwide. This warrant may be executed at any time of the day or night, and on Sundays or legal holidays. That's just unbelievable. The government's allowed to operate on Sunday? Jesus. There's some other additional documents, but that's the main warrant for Aaron, and then we'll get into next stuff in just a moment. But we see here Aaron is 6'3", 220 pounds, male, and white. Fingerprints required per statute, yes. And it looks like they have no criminal history of his fingerprints before this. Interesting. There we go. Don't need that. Okay. There's also a, let me see, what is this? Notice by prosecuting attorney of evidence and identification procedures pursuant to Rule 7.01. The evidence they received, they have checked these ones. Let's see. Evidence against the defendant obtained as a result of a search, seizure, or wiretappings. Confessions, admissions, statements. Evidence against defendant discovered as a result of confessions. So these will be the things that he said on his show, basically, I believe. And also, let me see. Other observations of the defendant, and I believe there is also notice of disclosure by prosecution. Let's see, the prosecution, as pursuant to Rule 9.01, has disclosed this to the defendant. There is witnesses, trial witnesses, statement relating to the case, written or recorded, summary of oral statements, physical evidence, documents, and tangible objects, criminal record of defendant, exculpatory information, and other information. This is all dated the 29th of August. A big day in Minnesota. Big Friday in Minnesota. No, wait, the 29th is the Thursday. My mistake. And there's also a demand for discovery that has been issued as of Thursday. So this means that Aaron has to hand over all digital records, and that if he decides to destroy anything, that will be tampering with evidence. So it's too late to delete the single app. It's too late to erase your messages. Very unfortunate. This is an absolute L for the toe on Thursday, the 29th. Alrighty. Let's take a look how locals on Nick's Locals responded to this. Let's have a look. This is by The Promised One. P.S. Destroying the narrative against Lady Rackets, coming soon. So this is what you can look forward to. I have set a date next week to do this, but I'm busy with work, and I have to gather enough evidence to support my arguments. My initial thoughts are that she's a victim of revenge porn and has every right to file a criminal complaint against anyone who violates her privacy while breaking the law. Does this mean that the swinging allegations were true? No. Okay, buddy. All right. Let me see these mental gymnastics. I need to see. No, but it does mean that the Rekietas have terrible judgment in making friends. Case in point. Does this make Nick a hypocrite for going to the police when he has his own legal troubles? No, he's not the victim. Lady Rackets is. Okay. We have not heard her opinions concerning the police, and if she wants to call the police because someone is committing a crime against her, she should. You think people who are dealing with the justice system should never just call law enforcement or anything? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Legal mindset and potentially criminal, if that is your real name. And if you don't know, criminals deal with the cops all the time, even when they are victims themselves. Then why does Aaron have naked photos of Lady Rackets if they weren't swinging? The same reasons that we as local community have semi-naked pics of Lady Rackets. I'm not sure what argument this is. Look, Your Honor. Look. Well, I mean, this isn't really an argument to a judge, right? It's just it's an appeal to the audience. Look, we all know Nick's wife's a slag, so it's perfectly reasonable that Aaron would have pictures of her, right, guys? We still winning, right? Another L for the toe. This is like, oh my goodness. This is like pure liquid copium that even I can't produce in my copium labs. Very sad for me. I mean, I've tried to produce this much cope, but nobody can. The same reason we as a local community have semi-naked pictures of Lady Rackets. We're not banging Nick's wife. Is that... That's the real problem. This is the real anger coming from locals, that they want to be the one banging Nick's wife, but they only get to watch. They're all like the whole locals community. They're all the cucks. Oh my goodness. Is that what locals is now? The cuck shed. We're not banging Nick's wife. What makes you think he is? Well, I mean, obviously this is in regard to Aaron. Well, for one, he has full frontal nudie pictures of Kayla. They're all in the big hot tub together. There is no reason not to believe they're not swinging. Look, it's Occam's razor here, boys. The most reasonable, the simplest answer is that they were banging and they had a falling out. My assumption based on the arrest warrant is that two couples had signed up to a signaled group chat where they had shared too much intimate shit. This is an interesting... Do you guys just share pictures with your wife, with your bros? Is this a thing that Americans do? Is this reasonable? Is this the average state of the American male? Well, of course I send my bro pictures of my wife. Why not? Don't everybody? No. If you get it, what if we've got to charge up our geo crystals together? We need some material to charge those crystals up. What are you worried about? Just let's go. It's perfectly reasonable. No, I think this is some Kuma brain shit that doesn't happen. I have never sent a picture of a loved one. I don't have any sexy pictures of my loved one, right? And I haven't sent them. I wouldn't send them even if I did. That's ridiculous. That's some degenerate shit. That betrays every element of trust you have in a relationship. Just don't do it. Oh my goodness. It's really funny to see the way that other people think. Like, it really is very simple, right? Let me see. They've shared too much intimate shit, and the Rekieta's poor judgment of character led them to a situation where they are in today. I don't know if you know this, but when you share naked pictures with people you're intimate with, you don't need to use social media. You just share it on your phone. Okay. Aaron sent Geno a screenshot of a picture of a group chat. That picture wasn't intended for him personally. Okay, there's some jumps in logic here. First of all, you don't know it was a group chat where it was posted. This is your assumption. This is your assumption. Why can't it be a direct message direct to Aaron? And furthermore, if they had a group photo, why is she posting the nude photo in the group picture? That's not typical normal behavior on groups that aren't swinging. The picture wasn't intended for him personally. It was meant for people in that group. Who are in the group? Aaron, April, Nick, and Rekieta. And Lady Rekieta, I should say, right? It's not for Lady Rekieta. It's probably not for Nick, because then Nick could see it just anytime he wanted, right? Or just she could see him directly. It's unlikely it's for April, but it's not impossible. Maybe women just compare breasts or something a lot. I don't know. But then again, why would you do that with Aaron in the chat? It just makes no fucking sense. This is just like, this is unbelievable. And that photo description doesn't seem sexual in nature. No, it's just her full naked body with her breasts exposed. It appears that Lady Rackets was showing off a tattoo on a private part of her body. You can do that with a bra on. You can share under boob photos with a bra on. You don't need to have both breasts exposed to do that. It would have been a smart move for the Rekietas to not go to the police. That way, the public does not find out about the naked pictures and give credence to the swinging allegations. Again, no. First off, Nick isn't the reason we as the public found out about this. It was Keanu Thompson, that rat, telling the world that Aaron sent a picture of naked Lady Rackets to Geno, which Keanu saw. I don't know if this is accurate. I don't know if this is accurate because I think the chain of events here was that Aaron sent the photo to Geno, and then Geno probably showed it to Keanu. Surely that would be the chain of events. If we found out about it, which Keanu saw is why we found out about it. Nick has not spoken publicly about the nature of his relationship with the Imholtes. He has yet to confirm or deny the allegations of swinging. So there's still a chance it's not happening, guys. Even though it isn't hard to say that guy didn't fuck my wife. But for some reason, Nick doesn't want to address this shit. Some reason he doesn't want to address that shit is because Aaron was balls deep in Kayla. I know some people say that just addressing false allegations give them credibility, but just outright denying them kind of helps. Yeah, it does. Nick should have said something. Let me see. What's my unwarranted opinion on this matter? My opinion is that if the Rekietas had conducted themselves in an inappropriate manner and had been better judge of character, they would not have been caught up in this scandal. This does not mean I like Nick less, or I don't support his family against the criminal charges. But this whole situation has left a lot of people, including myself, very disappointed. Yeah, I'm very disappointed in Nick myself. Very disappointed. Public figure or not, when people think highly of you, regardless of whether you ask them to or not, whether you feel it's warranted or not, and stuff like this happens, the people who looked up to you are just going to be disappointed. It doesn't mean that they hate you. It just means that they expect better from you, and you have failed to meet their expectations. The only thing we can do is hope that the justice is served where it needs to be served, and that the innocent people in all of this come out on top. And remember, kids, God is always right. Christ is king. That's true. That's true. Somebody responded to this post saying, fuck the law. Less talk, more rock. Add violence. Oh, this seems very reasonable. And one more. Somebody bombed the courthouse and cop station. This is their words, not mine, YouTube, okay? This seems a little bit extreme. Very, very reasonable people in the locals chat. It's a bastion of thought, intelligent, rationality, and, civil discussion. Nick is a bottom? I don't think so. I think they just wife swapped. Which I don't know why. Why would you do that? It seems strange to throw away like what almost 2 decades of marriage just because you get a bit bored, because you start to feel like your midlife crisis is coming. It's just, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. So local is threatening terrorism now? No, because everybody knows it's the cuck shed. They're not going to do anything. They're just gonna seethe and cope and come up with their own headcanon so that Nick is still winning. And then something bad will happen to Aaron, and they'll be like a total Rekieta victory. Then something bad will happen to Nick, and they'll be like, well, this isn't actually something bad. Then something bad will happen to Aaron. They'll be like total Rekieta victory. It just goes around like that. They just live in their own little worlds. It's just the way things are. It's just the way that insular communities operate. It's just the way it is. Just the way it is. By the way, you guys got to like that stream. Come on, we've only got only under 200 likes. We need to get over 400. Otherwise, YouTube doesn't share this shit out. Come on now, guys. Come on, let's do the best. As we get into the Rekieta's motion, this is what you came for, I'm sure. And then we'll talk a little bit. Actually, I'll show these first. So this came out today. I guess today for Americans, the 30th, Friday. Yeah, the state had 5 days or something. Well, the state had till the 30th to respond. So I guess we should have expected this coming out. And I think the next hearing won't be too far away. Maybe, I think I remember hearing something about September 5th, but who can say? This is the response to Nick's motion to dismiss. So you remember he sent a little thing saying, Your Honor, the pixels. Now, I will point out that it is very funny that if Nick's argument in his motion to dismiss was that, well, it was on cogs channel and the pixels, they get compressed when you download and re-upload, and there's color grading and things. And, when you send people a photo on a phone, it compresses the photo. How can we be sure that that was really a photo of Kayla if it was compressed? And we might have to pinch and zoom and find out. Who can say? Who can say? But yes, Nick didn't do a cope stream today after this came out, but he did show up in Sean's channel. Somebody made, basically what happened if you missed it, and I jumped on this stream at the end of it just to say hi to Sean, since he sent me an invite. Basically what happened is somebody said in the chat, would you stop talking about Nick entirely for $100,000? And I was kind of cooking at the time, so I didn't hear the exact thing, but I think Sean said yes, because you'd have to be crazy not to accept that. That's just a good deal. You could do a lot more coverage of interesting cases with 100K, right? But then Rekieta was stealth watching. Now, he doesn't watch any content about his case. He doesn't read the QB Farms, but somehow he was in the chat at that moment, ready to drop $100 super chat. So just 999,000 to go, right? Is that it? No, $999,900 to go. And he said, I would rather open a new Jimmy John's in town, new sandwich shop. He then sent an additional message. I think it was like a $20 super chat. And he was saying, like, what happened? It was basically, what happened to you, Sean? I would still have lunch with you. We could still be friends. And then, according to Sean, he started receiving shower texts. So these super chats were kind of just to get Sean to check his phone. And Sean did not disclose the nature of these texts, but I think he said he was trying to get Nick on stream or something. Or Nick was trying to get on stream, but he didn't come on. He didn't let him on. And Sean said that he wouldn't be opposed to having lunch with Nick, but he would, if Nick would have to set his house straight first, basically. There was also if you're interested in this case, I'd recommend checking out Legal Mindsets coverage. He had this very fun little PowerPoint, very cute indeed, and he even made his own. I think these are all made by Andrew actually, but he's a big PowerPoint fan. You can see here, this is how it works. We've got Nick, we've got Aaron, Kayla, and April. So Nick and April, coke as currency. Oh my goodness. Nick and Aaron, cocaine skeptic. Kayla and Aaron, ketamine perhaps. April and Kayla, girl talk about drugs. And in the middle, something that brings them all together is a drug. So that was very funny, very creative by Andrew. Very good work as always. All right. Now let's get into the state motion. The state's motion. Let's have a look. To Nicholas and his attorneys. Oh, look, Nate the lawyer just jumped in. How's it going, Nate? This is the first time I've seen a chat from you in a long time. Nate the lawyer says, I love how the state's response was exactly what I predicted. It also shows that Barnes was totally wrong. No surprises. Yeah, I mean, well, what can you expect from his Swiss mercenary of law? Funny how all four swingers were all charged with major felonies. Oh, misery loves company. But thank you very much for that, Nate. Your coverage of the debate not really debate, but the friendly discussion you had with Kurt and Joe was very informative and very interesting and really just did blow the fuck out of Barnes. I have to say, we did watch that and we did have a good time. Very insightful and good shit. So keep it up. Keep it up. Thank you for the 20 as well. I'm going to use that to buy pizza tomorrow. Maybe. Let's see. All right. So the state says, state's memorandum of law in opposition to defendant's motion to dismiss. To Nicholas Rekieta and lawyer. There are two issues before the court. First, whether the defendant has made sufficient showing to warrant a Franks hearing. Second, whether the seizure of firearms was lawful. Based on the arguments herein, the court should deny the defendant's motion in its entirety. Number one, discussion. The defendant is not entitled to a Franks hearing and cannot go beyond the four corners of the search warrant in a probable cause challenge. The United States and Minnesota constitutions provide that no warrant shall issue without a showing of probable cause. U.S. Constitution Amendment 4. Minnesota Constitution Article 1, 10. To determine whether an issuing judge has substantial basis for finding probable cause, we look to the totality of the circumstances in State versus Wile E. Coyote. The task of issuing judge is simply to make a practical, common sense decision whether, given all the circumstances set forth in the affidavit before him, including the veracity and basis of knowledge of persons supplying hearsay information, there is a fair probability that contraband or evidence of a crime will be found in a particular place. In reviewing the sufficiency of the search warrant affidavit under the totality of the circumstances test, courts must be careful not to review each component of the affidavit in isolation. Collection of pieces of information that would not be substantial alone can combine to create a sufficient probable cause. State versus Jones. Furthermore, the resolution of doubtful or marginal cases should be largely determined by the preference to be accorded warrants, and that is also Wile E. Coyote. Now, hold on a second. I just need to load something up for a bit later. Make sure it's open. There we go. Good stuff. Good stuff. Oh, look, very cute. Sorry, I got distracted by something briefly. I do have a bit of a scatterbrain today, but it is what it is. All right. Generally, in determining whether probable cause exists, both the district court and the reviewing court may consider only the information in application for the search warrant. But if a defendant challenges the accuracy of material facts in a facially valid search warrant, the district court is permitted to look beyond the four corners of the warrant application. Whether there was probable cause to support the warrant is decided on the face of the warrant application and the information contained within the four corners of the document. Let me see. To go beyond the four corners of the search warrant, the defendant must establish a substantial preliminary showing that 1. The affidavit contains a false material statement, and 2. The affidavit made the false statement intentionally or with reckless disregard for the truth, and 3. The false statement is necessary to support the findings of probable cause in U.S. versus Swanson. Nick is 4 things. Well, their little polycule was 4 things, but now it's down to 3. But the triangles are the strongest. The triangles are the strongest number, the strongest shape in nature. That's why I'm using trigonometry to keep my ceiling cats properly aligned. See that? I know it looks like a cube almost, but trust me, there's only 3 contact points, so it's still a triangle. But it's working very well for me. Oh, I forgot to bring up the regular ceiling cats as well. Give me a second. Where's my other ceiling cats? There we go. There we go. We're talking about Nick stuff, so we've got to have them all up. There we go. There we go. Where were we? I think we were at State versus Swanson, right? Yes. The requirement of substantial preliminary showing is not easily met. To make this preliminary showing, the defendant must make an offer of proof in the form of a sworn affidavit of a witness. Franks is limited to cases of perjurious or recklessly false statements or omissions made by police officers in support of a warrant. The rule does not apply to negligent misrepresentations or omissions. Here, no affidavit was offered by the defendant. No testimony offered by the defendant or any defense witnesses. The only challenge to the search warrant comes from the defendant's omnibus motion alleging that misinformation or lack of information was provided by law enforcement on the search warrant affidavit. The defendant did submit some exhibits in support of their motion. However, their exhibits are incomplete and create a misleading picture of the evidence provided. This is essentially a fishing expedition by the defendants to go beyond the four corners of the warrant. Well, that's interesting. Isn't that what Nick was accusing the police of doing? The defendant is attempting to get Frank's hearing without making the requisite showing. The defendant argues that Candido High County Health and Human Services screening out an initial child maltreatment report should have ended the inquiry for law enforcement. The search warrant was not based solely on the child maltreatment report. Further, the screening of the child maltreatment report is controlled by an entirely different set of statutes and standards than criminal defenses. Whether there is enough to investigate a child maltreatment report has no bearing on whether or not criminal activity may be occurring. Child maltreatment reports are cross-reported between law enforcement and child protection. This is a state mandate. Once Detective Pomplum received the child maltreatment report, he began an investigation into whether or not there was a criminal activity related to controlled substances. The purpose of this inquiry is different and not controlled by child protection standards. Both agencies with the same information provided in the initial report. Applying their unique standards to the information, each agency proceeded differently. It is not relevant that the child maltreatment report was screened out by County Health Services, even if it was relevant. Whether or not child maltreatment report was screened out by an entirely different agency using a different standard has no bearing on the probable cause determination in the search warrant. The warrant was the basis for the start of law enforcement's investigation. It was not the entire investigation. It was not the sole basis for the application of the search warrant. Even if the court were to strike the information about child maltreatment report from the warrant application, there is still probable cause for a search warrant based on Detective Pomplum's subsequent investigation. And this makes perfect sense, right? If you get like maybe one report or and Nick does get like a lot of swatting calls, and a lot of swatting calls are like, well, this person's endangering their family, or this person's about to delete themselves, those sort of things. Nick has been swatted 3-4 times. In fact, when he pulled over for the police, he thought he was being swatted again. So it makes perfect sense that if they got maybe one report, they might dismiss it, but it all piles up, and that starts to put you on their radar. And when you're on their radar and you're going on these streams and being coked out and very clearly intoxicated and I would argue very clearly intoxicated on not alcohol specifically, it starts to get the officers' noggins a jogging, and you don't really want to be on the radar. Alrighty, now where were we? All right, the defendant also argues that Detective Pomplum intentionally misrepresented the relationship between the defendant and April. Sorry, why do I keep saying April? And Aaron. So this is an interesting point, is that it doesn't really say, and the Nick's lawyer doesn't really bring this up, that, Your Honor, look, my client stole Aaron's wife. That might be a contributing factor in this. They didn't really say that. They just say they're friends, and they weren't really, they had a falling out. It's just a friend. I mean, he had nudes of her, but they're just friends, sort of thing. They're just friends. Maybe they met at Stoney's or something. There was a $2 can Tuesday or something. And they just, just a good old friendship, just platonic or something. But they didn't disclose this, and it is an important factor. Let me see. In the application for the search warrant, Detective Pomplum notes that there was a pre-existing relationship between the defendant and Aaron by referring to prior videos where they appeared together, or Aaron appeared from the defendant's home. Interesting, because a lot of people said, well, not a lot of people, but Nick said, oh no, April's just streaming from my house. That's not a big deal. But it looks like, at least in this case, it was a big deal. Not for, of course, for April's appearance, but the fact that Aaron had been streaming from Nick's bunker. That's the one when Nick comes up in his underwear, licks him on the ear. Very weird shit to do for just friends, right? Very weird to do that if you're not swinging with people. Or when they've got the hot tub stream where they say, this is the not swinging hot tub stream. and they try and get out in front of it and own the chat by admitting to swinging before it was like public knowledge. Very weird behavior. But 2 instances where they've seen very, very intimate behavior at the Rekieta's home. Suggests something more than a friendship, I would argue. Let me see. Detective Pomplum included that there may have recently been a falling out between Aaron and the defendant. He also indicated that Aaron and April had separated. Now, the funny thing, another thing about April, is that we had a look at her first hearing, and she posted bond. But she posted bond, and she said her address was Aaron's house, like Aaron's current house, and they are separated, and April's very clearly living at the Rekieta's house. I guess it probably doesn't matter, because you can have multiple addresses. But it's a weird thing to do. It's a weird thing to write down. I guess she didn't want, she'd feel weird if she put down Nick's house. But who can say? Maybe she's just not really thinking that hard about it. You never know. Sometimes you just get into habit of writing the same thing over and over and over. Let me see. He also indicated that Aaron and April had separated. Detective Pomplum informed the issuing magistrate that Imholte and the defendant were no longer on good terms. The full-throated threats that the defendant references in his memorandum all involve the idea that Imholte knows information about the defendant that the defendant does not want to be made public. This does not indicate something more than a falling out. The statements that the defendant cites as threats are not threats to physically or financially harm the defendant. They are statements about sharing information that the defendant does not want to be shared. Detective Pomplum's statements that there may have been a falling out between Imholte and the defendant is not a material misrepresentation of the facts. The defendant may disagree with that, but it does not make it a lie. The statement indicates that there is no longer an ongoing relationship. A falling out indicates an ending of a friendship was not on good terms. Even if the statements of the defendant cited in his memorandum were included in the probable cause portion of the affidavit, there is still probable cause. The statements cited by the defendant indicate that Imholte and the defendant had a prior personal relationship that is no longer ongoing. This is the same information provided by Detective Pomplum. Detective Pomplum gave the issue magistrate additional information to judge the veracity of the statements made by Imholte. Detective Pomplum notes that, I'm just going to call him Aaron, because I always make mistakes when I say Imholte or Imholte. Which one is it? Is it Imholte or Imholte? It's Imholte, right? I don't know, we'll just say Aaron. Detective Pomplum notes that Aaron has personally used controlled substances in the recent past. There is no direct statements by Aaron that the defendant was using controlled substances. Is that true? Did he just infer that he was using jelly donuts and things like that? Or not jelly donuts. Not jelly donuts, but powdered donuts. Powdered donuts. Imholte. It's Imholte? Okay, thank you very much. As in I'm Dolt. Oh, that's a good one. Imhotep, go with it. I like Imhotep. That's a funny one. YouTube is retracting statements. Is that true? I see there was a One Punch Man Tolkien fan retracted a message retracted. I think that he did it by himself. I don't think it was YouTube. It certainly wasn't my mods. My mods don't really do much unless someone is actively spamming, which I haven't seen today. But I have heard some people saying that YouTube's been a bit more aggressive with their moderation policies recently. So who knows? Who knows? I'm a hole. I'm a hoe. I guess you could pronounce it that way as well. Didn't see it just no, you did it yourself. Yeah, I think that's what happened. I think maybe you retracted your message, but because people can see my chat on the screen, they thought that YouTube did it. Call him Emotep. After all, he's keen on The Mummy. The Mummy's a good movie. It's kind of funny to call him The Mummy though, because like he's like 2 months younger than me. Because he's a Christmas Eve baby. And you're like, well, that's an interesting fact. How do you know that? Well, one, from his search warrant. But it's also important to note because they went on, because Nick was accused of abandoning his kids to go have a party at a casino on Christmas. And Nick said, no, I did not abandon my kids with the 16-year-old to look after the house. There was a babysitter. And that's not really the point, I think. Like, the fact that you leave your kids on Christmas to go swing at a casino is... I think that's the bad part about it. Not that a 16-year-old was left in charge, because I don't have a problem with like having a 16-year-old left in charge. That happens in a lot of countries. Like I think when I was a kid, like we got the neighbor girl to babysit or something, and she was like 15, 16 or something like that. It's pretty common. Like babysitters are usually like in their teens. They're usually not adults. At least that's where it used to be. I don't know about now. What do you guys? Do you guys know? You guys hired a babysitter lately? How old are they? Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. All right, so there was no direct statements by Aaron that the defendant was using controlled substances. Detective Pomplum pointed out that Aaron insinuated use by the defendant, but did not directly state that. Yeah, that's what I thought. Aaron also talked about a video where the defendant appeared to be under the influence of a controlled substance. That, of course, is the legendary coke stream. The information provided by Aaron is not the sole basis for the search warrant. Aaron's video on May 22nd refers to a video the defendant produced on the 5th of, that's the 21st of May, silly Americans, where the defendant appeared to be under the influence of a controlled substance. That's the coke stream. You can see it on a list of clips. And also it's still on Nick's Odyssey, by the way. He forgot to take it down. He took it down on Rumble. He took it down on YouTube. But the Rumble one, I'm pretty sure, was up for like a week. But the story is that Nick forgot his Odyssey's password, and that's why he can't take the video down. I don't know if that's true or not, but it is very funny if that's the case. Detective Pomplum did not rely on that statement alone. Detective Pomplum watched the defendant's video for himself. Oh no. Nick is accusing has made the accusation that they were watching it on Cog's channel, Cog Life. Oi, Cog added a watermark to me video. That means it's not admissible in court. And that's the one that I think that was actually played on the Steel Toe show via Cog's channel. Let me see. Detective Pomplum did not rely on that statement alone. Detective watched the defendant's video for himself. That's what I thought happened. Like Nick has suggested they just saw the clip and it's not the thing, but the detective claiming now that he watched the whole video by himself. Detective Pomplum has been trained as a drug recognition expert, where he receives specialized training to identify the signs and symptoms when someone is under the influence of a controlled substance. Based on his review of the video, Detective Pomplum stated the defendant was showing signs of being under the influence of a controlled substance. I think you don't need to have training to detect that. It was pretty obvious. I mean, he was making wild accusations, slurring his speech to the 9th degree. And Nick is, I'll give this to Nick. He's a strong drunk. Like, he doesn't show signs of drinking until he's really hammered. Like, if I have I have a shot or two, my tongue starts to get thicker or whatever, and it's harder for me to talk. It's actually pretty impressive how much he can knock back. It's not something you should be proud of, though, really, if we've been honest. But to Nick's credit, he can drink a whole shit ton. Now, the problem is when he's mixing alcohol with Coke, which he very clearly was on that stream, because he goes away, comes back with powder on his nose. Pretty obvious for all to see. Let me see. Choose what to do with the 5 says, don't forget, you have to have kids to hire a babysitter. Well, I guess that's true. I mean, you can hire a babysitter, but that's some degenerate shit if you don't have kids. It depends what you're hiring it for, I suppose. Let me see. Based on his... Oh, I think I read that part, yeah. The defendant argues that the detective Pomplum did not watch the entire video, and that the defendant published published on his social media on May 21st. In support of that contention, he submitted a PowerPoint that contains a clip from that video stream. The clip is less than 1 minute long and does not include any audio. This was a clip from the full video that Detective Pomplum created. Detective Pomplum's creating clip channels now? Shit. How lucrative is this clipping content? Wait, what if Detective Pomplum is the real identity of Alyssa Clips? That'd be so funny. He's just going about his day and it just happened to coincide. He's like, oh, shit, I was just doing this for fun, but I guess I got to go to work now. Oh, my goodness. Detective Pomplum Clips on the scene. It was disclosed to the defense on July 3rd. Oh, so Nick should know about this. So then the statement he made in his motion to suppress is a complete lie, because he said this is not the case, but he should have known about this, right? Defense counsel downloaded it at 12:31 p.m. on July 3rd. It was disclosed on July 3rd, at the same time as the PowerPoint clip. It was the entire 4 hour and 4 minute long video that the detective's channel, from the defendant's channel, with the audio. Well, hang on a second. I know for a fact that that stream is 4 hours, 4 minutes, and 4 seconds long. If it's not the whole 4 seconds, you don't have the whole context. Maybe it's been edited. We don't. I mean, it has to be edited if it's not the whole 4 hours, 4 minutes, and 4 seconds. There's compression and things, things like that. All sorts of things can happen when you download a video. Sometimes it just adds coke to your nose. It happens all the time. As a video editor, I'm aware of this. But that is pretty damning if you've got the whole stream. And the funny thing is, I asked this question to Sean. I said, okay, even if they did, suppose they did take it from Cog's channel, couldn't they just compare it to the original media to see if it's changing the content in a way that is significant or in a way that changes the context? Because there's kind of like a similar argument here to what this one you get with fair use. Did Cog transform Nick's clip in a way that would be deemed fair use? No, he did not. It's uploaded basically exactly as it was created. Maybe just Cog added a watermark or something. But the content has not changed. The meaning has not changed. And the reason to consume the clip has not changed at all. So if Nick was going to DCMA Cog, he could, because it's not in fair use. Now, Nick's not going to do that, of course. He said many times that people can clip his content without doing anything. He's fine with that. So Cog's this isn't a problem for Cog at all. But if the context of the clip is unchanged to the same degree that it would not pass a fair use analysis, then that means it is not significantly changed from the original upload anyway, to the point where if you once saw it, it's as if you're watching the original clip. But it's relevant anyway, because they have the whole 4 hour, 4 minute video from Nick's channel. This was downloaded by Defense Counsel on July 18th, 2024 at 12:46 p.m. The full video has been uploaded to MNDS for the court to review and shared with the defendant. The defense argues that the clip on the PowerPoint was manipulated, but as you can see from the full video stream, this clip is taken directly from the video at approximately 2 hours, 50 minutes, and 40 seconds into the video. The only editing is that it's cut the short clip from the entire video. The other brand on the clip may have been from the application used to make the clip. The full video is Cog using unregistered Bandicam or something? Is that what's happening here? Or the police not paying for their video processors? That would be funny. Your Honor, it's unregistered Hypercam number 2. I clearly could not be guilty. The full video shows that it is entirely from the defendant's channel. There are no other labels or markings to indicate the video is not authentic. Detective Pomplom informed the issuing magistrate that the video was no longer publicly available. Well, that's not true, because it is. It is actually publicly available on Nick's Odyssey account. But he was able to view the entire video stream. You know what? We can actually check. Even though Odyssey is very slow site. Let me see. I think that I think I checked it today and it was still up. But let's see how it was. So this is the clip. This is the video that they're talking about. Well, this is the Odyssey copy, but it's on Nick's channel. And it's 2 hours, 50 minutes, 40 seconds. 2 hours, 50 minutes, and 40 seconds. So it's just when he gets back from his Coke break. So there we go. We'll just mute the audio for a second. So 5 seconds it should start. This is what Detective Plom Plom Clips is playing. All right.
It was.
Yeah, you can see the Coke. Let's be real, guys. 1 for Coke, 2 for Nope. It's right there. It's right there. Can we increase it? No, this is the highest quality. This is authentic copy from Nick's Odyssey account, RekietaLaw. It's still up there. So we'll go
Anywhere.
Go back a little bit. Odyssey's actually running better than the last time I used it. There we go. Will we ever hear this song again? I don't think so, because he's removed all the whiskey iconography from his show. But he's got the whiskey drinking story. I actually quite like the Nick Rekieta song. Like it's hard to listen to now, but back in the day, I think it was a pretty good song. It was a banger. My Room Records, I think it was. All right, so Nick comes in just now. What do you think? I mean, I know it's a little bit hard for the chat to see probably, but I can see it very clearly here. Oh my gosh.
It was that.
And the way that it moves the light, the way that it moves without the light interfering with it just confirms to me it's not like a trick of the lens or anything.
Guys, let's go in.
So this is the clip. And how long was the clip? They said it was Well, they just played it without the clip is less than 1 minute, so watch 1 minute into it. So watch for
So much urine. So much urine.
oh no, it's so obvious. Like it's so obvious right here. It's even going down into his mustache. You can see it here. The powdered donuts.
That's what you have to learn. When you're old, you don't pee more.
What?
When you drink whiskey, you pee a shitload.
It's like right here. Pinch and zoom. All right, hold on. I'll pinch and zoom for you guys. I'll pinch and zoom. Even though by pinching and zooming, I'm changing it. It's not the same. Oops. There we go. It's here. Look at that. Look at that white substance. It's right there. It's right there. That's confirmed. It's confirmed. They got him. They got him. Lock him up. Actually, like, oh, never mind. Hold on. We'll go back a bit. Because there's like a kind of another. We'll get like a second. Like this one's even worse. This one's even worse. Get into the crime computer. MS Paint. All right. Enhance. Enhance sector 5. Tilt down. Oh, what the fuck? Why isn't this working? Huh? There we go. There we go. It's right. It's right here. It's right here. April sat on his face. Is she got like a mummified cooch or something? Is that why it's all dusty? What do you mean by that? If there was another like it's the more I watch it's just incredibly obvious.
And I go to Chicago, I just kneel on black people all the time. So I do. And
I mean, that's just a funny quote. I guess that's the cops must have given him a favor actually, because like they excluded the audio. They excluded the audio of this when he's saying he was kneeling on cops, or no, he was going to Chicago to kneel on black people or whatever. When he played it again, oh my goodness, what a disaster! What a disaster! Absolute disaster. How's it going, Andrew? Good stream today. I liked your PowerPoint.
One day I beat him to the Italian dunkers. Shitty man.
There's this one frame. I'm not sure you can go frame by frame in Odyssey. In YouTube, you can use the arrow key. Or, you can go 5 seconds. Oh, that was a good one. Hold on. Can we get that frame back? All right. Enhance. Throw this into the crime lab. Let's have a look. Oh, we got it. There we go. I mean, come on. Come on now. Come on now. Come on now, guys. It's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious. All right, don't make saves to the entire. So this is the clip that the cops downloaded, and this is you can go there right now. This is on RekietaLaw Odyssey, the one copy that Nick forgot to take down. I think if my memory serves, but this isn't a it's not like a diamond memory or some shit. I don't know. He took down the stream on YouTube the day after. I think the Rumble was a week later, and then this Odyssey one is still up. Really great idea to have Odyssey mirroring all your videos, I suppose. But there you go. There you go. So where were we? That's the clip that Detective Pomplum Clips downloaded himself and clipped it himself. Very industrious of him to start a clip channel as a secondary source of a bit of extra scratch. Very nice, very industrious. I like it. You got that grind set. Now where were we? Where were we? So this let me see. Detective Pomplum watched the defendant's video for himself. Detective Pomplum has been trained. Oh yeah, we read that part. The defendant argues that the detective did not watch the entire video that the defendant published on his social media. In support of that contention, he submitted a PowerPoint that contains a clip from the video stream. The clip is no less than 1 minute long and does not include any audio. This is a clip from the full video that Detective Pomplum created. It was disclosed to the defense on July 3rd. The defense counsel downloaded on 12:31 p.m. July 3rd. Oh, I think we squat up a bit. Yes, we did. We were at this part. Yes, we did. The defense argues that the clip on the PowerPoint was manipulated. But as you can see from the full video stream, the clip was taken directly from the video, approximately 2 hours and 50 minutes into the video. The only video editing was that it's cut short from the entire video. Now we have to scroll down a bit, because I did lose my place. Detective Pomplum informed the issuing magistrate that the video was no longer publicly available, but that he was able to view the entire video stream. The entire video is consistent with the statement made by Aaron. Detective Pomplum used his own training as a drug recognition expert to describe the defendant's behavior and how that is consistent with the use of a controlled substance. Copy sieve, like copy paste, copy sieve. It's kind of funny. Detective Pomplum did not misrepresent the information. He viewed the entire video. F's in chat to his brain cells. That's a rough watch, 4 hours of it. This was disclosed to the defendant. The defendant had this video for over a month prior to the omnibus hearing. Oh my goodness. Nick, no. This is a really bad. Oh my goodness. The defendant had the clip for 1 month. Holy. Oh my goodness. Pour one out for Nick's defense. Pour one out for the Franks hearing. It's over. It's over, bros. It's fucking over. It's ogre even. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. 1 month. I guess he was too busy working on videos. I don't know. Instead of being candid with the court, the defendant implied the only video that was disclosed to them was a short clip from Cogs channel, Cogs Life. Oh my goodness. Is it Cogs Life or Cogs World now, right? Very true. Legal Mindset says, like the video, Baldo Bros. Actually, let's see what the... Looks like most people are on the big lad that Nick yelled at's team. Good old potentially Sean. There you go. He got some big money today. I don't know if you saw this, Andrew, but Nick was live sieving in Sean's chat today. Very funny. And it was also, I know you blocked him, but he's been live sieving at you behind the block as well, which is very funny. But I'm sure you're aware of that because you've got eyes everywhere. Let me see. This has the appearance of an intentional misrepresentation to the court of what information has been disclosed. This is a fucking brutal document. Mummy, why can't my document be like the prosecutor's? Oh my goodness. Nick's motions at home are not doing so good. Additionally, Detective Pomplum viewed the video from the defendant's channel going back several months. Oh no. Holy shit. This man needs a raise. Give him a bonus. Between January 20th and May 24, Detective Pomplum notes the defendant's changes in appearance, including that he has lost weight, appears tired, and overall strung out. All of these are common with controlled substance use. Did somebody show Detective Pomplum the before and after pictures? Nick actually let's have a look. Let's have a quick compare. I'll show you how. So this is Nick on the day before he got arrested, and this is Nick from when his channel was doing very well.
Some uh-ohs, as I would call them. Uh-oh. 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 Uh-oh.
It's like night and day. Like his coat is shiny, his skin is smooth, but now look at him. Disheveled. Look at those eyes. Holy shit. Now I get bags in my eyes too because I don't sleep that much. But I mean, how can you describe it other than a ghoulish transformation? Is Detective Pomplum or Pom-Pom a Kiwi bro? It may very well be. Who knows? Who knows? Very interesting. Very interesting. All of these are common with controlled substance use per Detective Pomplum's specialized training as a drug recognition expert and his prior experience as a police officer. Insert another win for the toe. Well, it's not a win. Is this a win for the toe? Really? I mean, Nick losing isn't really a win for the toe. Aaron's got his own shit to deal with. If Aaron was living his best life free and easy, then this would be a win for the toe. But since Aaron's on the run, playing chained together in real life right now, it's hard to say it's a win for the toe. Toe W. The detective is a toe bro. There's a non-zero chance of that being true. Because like I said, when Nick was arrested, it was pretty early in the morning, like 9 or 10 a.m. So the detectives, when they were driving down the Minnesota road to go pick him up, they literally could have been listening to the Steel Toe Morning Show while they were getting ready to pick up Nick. While he was probably talking about how much he loves what's her name, Kayla or something. And they roll up to the house and they're like, "Are you the Kayla we heard about on the Toe Show?" That'd be so funny. Oh my goodness. Life could not be that funny though. Life cannot surely be that. Well, actually, the thing is, what is the law? The funniest answer is always the true answer. That's the only law I believe in. The Pie Baker, oh, thank you very much, with 5, says, MC, if tomorrow you get a close encounter with a truck kun and wake up isekai'd as Nick R, would you rather his current lawyer or Lamoni representing you? Hey, look, we made a lot of fun of Lamoni and his West Nile. Was it West Nile disease that made his like, I can't talk like. Lamoni did well. Like Lamoni basically extracted what, $600,000 from Vic. I'm gonna go with Lamoni. Like we laughed at him back then, but he had the last laugh. And for a man of his lung capacity, that's the most valuable laugh as well. So yeah, I would ask for Lamoni, I think. Is it what? How do you say it? Is it not Lamoni? Lemoine? Lamoni? How do you say this? Fucking what? Wait, Black Lung, Lamoni, 0.5 Lungman, Lemony Snicket, the last wheeze. Like I'm gonna go with whatever West Nile disease guy. He did a pretty good job. I mean, Nick made a lot of fun of him, but he got his bread in the end. So at Nick's expense, not at Vic's expense, I should say, not at Nick's expense. Nick came out like a bandit in the Vic Mignogna thing. He rode the anime audience as high as he could go, and when they couldn't give him any more, he abandoned them, threw them to the wolves, and called them all lolicon pedos. Very shameful display, abandoning them when after he'd used them. Very disrespectful. Very disrespectful. It all went to shit when when Pippa Pipkin said that she wouldn't come on his stream, which is a very smart move on her part, actually. But that's when it happened. That's when the anime bros said enough. Smart move by old Nick. Now where were we? The defendant has failed to make the requisite high showing that the affiant, Detective Pomplom, intentionally made a false statement or with reckless disregard for the truth. Therefore, the defendant is not entitled to a Frank's hearing. Any challenge to the search warrant is limited to the four corners of the document. The state requests any additional briefing schedule. The state requests an additional briefing schedule if the defendant is raising a general probable cause challenge to the search warrant. That's the first argument. That's a pretty good, that's a pretty strong argument. I have to say, I think it's over. Frank's defense bros. It's done. Barnes, it's done. It's over. But the document's not over. They've got another argument. The seizure of the firearms was lawful under the plain view exception to the warrant requirement. The defendant's argument is grounded in the prohibition of unreasonable searches and seizures found in the federal and state constitutions. These provisions provide that the right of the people to be secure in their persons and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue upon no warrant should issue but upon probable cause. As a general rule, any search warrant or any search without a warrant is per se unreasonable unless the search falls within one of the few specifically established and well delineated exceptions, such as California versus Acevedo. It is well established that under the certain circumstances, items not named in a search warrant may properly be seized. The plain view exception to the particularity requirement of the Fourth Amendment is satisfied where an officer lawfully executing a search warrant authorizing the seizure of certain items inadvertently comes upon other items whose incriminating nature is immediately apparent. Now, as a non-practicing non-lawyer, and even though I disagree with the constitutionality of being able to own alcohol and guns, but not drugs and guns, the fact of the matter is that it is illegal in Minnesota to possess the cocaine and to possess the guns. And thus, if the guns are lying out on the floor, it's very obvious and easy for the cops to say, you know what, we can nab those. I'll be having that. Yoink. Police have probable cause to seize an object in the plain view if the facts available to the officer would warrant a person of reasonable caution in the belief that certain items may be useful as evidence of a crime. Meme has never been around a person on hard drugs in his life. That's just simply not true. That's just simply not true. I have a family member that does some very hard drugs, and their life has suffered quite significantly because of that. And furthermore, I lived in New Zealand, which probably has more addicts than in Canada. So it is what it is. Like, you think people are depressed and strung out in Canada? Go to New Zealand and see what it's really like. Like, Americans think that, and Canadians think that New Zealand's like this wonderful place. A lot of people in New Zealand are depressed. New Zealand was the world capital of youth self-deletion. It beat South Korea. We beat South Korea. It was bad back then. It was bad back then when I was living there. I don't know about now. That back when I was a kid. You have free crack vending machines. That's all right. That's pretty wild. That's pretty wild if true. But you can get crack pipes pretty easily in New Zealand as well. They're as decorative glass items for a couple dollars. New Zealand is run by biker gangs. True and real. Bob would be strung out too if he had to deal with Kiwis. Tell me about it. It's actually kind of amazing that I never went into drug use. I had the option to, obviously, but I always said no. And the rationale in my mind was that, like, I was like, let me finish my university studies first, and then I'll party a little bit. But then by the time I'd finished university, I was like, well, I've got a streak going. Why do it now? Although, to be fair, I did drink in university and before and in high school. And like I said, there's a lot of drugs that are a lot easier on the body than alcohol is. I don't think that there's a lot of a moral distinction between them, but you could definitely argue for like the harder shit like meth and amphetamines and all sorts of things like that. Absolutely. But anyway, back to the document. Police have probable cause to seize an object in plain view if the facts available to the officer would warrant a person of reasonable caution in the belief that item may be useful as evidence of a crime. To justify a warrantless seizure under the plain view exception, probable cause must be based on evidence revealed in plain view and cannot be obtained after conducting some further search of an object. The search warrant for the defendant's home was to search for controlled substances. During that search, law enforcement located a number of firearms. The exact models and locations are listed in the supplemental report number 1 submitted by the defense. The officers were acting with their legal authority to search the defendant's home pursuant to the search warrant when they located the firearms. There was no limitation in the warrant that the area of the defendant's home were not to be searched. The firearms were located under the bed in the master bedroom, in the garage, and in a safe in the garage of the home. Now, interestingly, I would say that if they were in a safe, oops, that's not going to work. If they're in a safe, I don't think the police should have taken them. That seems bullshit to me. But under the bed, absolutely. And even if they weren't seizing it as like a matter of a crime, it would just be good. It would just be good business to seize them because they don't know who's in the house. Now, of course, we know with meta knowledge that there was just the kids, Kayla and April, but the cops don't know that. For all they know, there could be a strung out Aaron or other druggie that they've brought into their polycule that is hiding behind a door with a gun. So if they see loose firearms in the house, absolutely they should seize those, just as a matter of protecting themselves and everybody else, because, you know, someone could maybe take a hostage or something. You never know what someone on crack is going to do. You just don't. So you have to make things as safe as possible. That's just my opinion. As it just seems like common sense to me, is what I'm saying. Now, if they had to start rifling through things to find them, that sounds like it's something that can be disputed by viewing body cam footage that would show that the police are up to no good. Unfortunately, we did not have the body cam footage. This could all be cleared up, though, if it was released. And Nick has also, like, again, this is secondhand source stuff, but apparently Nick said to Ethan Van Sciver that the cops had cocaine on their hands, on their gloves, and they touched his daughter's head when they were walking them outside, and that's how the cocaine got in her hair. Even though we know that it's cocaine metabolites and not cocaine as a substance, which is a completely ridiculous argument. But like I said, Ethan Van Sciver is just fat enough to believe it. Anyway, searching these locations was authorized by the initial search warrant. When law enforcement found the firearms, it was immediately apparent that they were evidence of a crime. In Minnesota, it is unlawful for a user of controlled substances to possess a firearm. Now, again, I know the chat always gets angry at me when I bring this up, but I think this is unconstitutional. And I haven't seen a good argument for it yet. My argument is that if you can own alcohol and you can get drunk and you can own firearms, how is it illegal that you can't get high and own firearms? It doesn't make sense to me. And people always say, well, if you're on drugs, you're going to be dangerous. Like, people commit more crimes on booze than anything else. Drink driving is the prime example of this. I haven't heard a good argument against this yet. People just keep saying that, like, I'm not thinking about it, but I think I've thought quite a bit about this. I'm happy to hear. I'm happy to hear your arguments if I see a good one, though. But all right. This is the crux of the problem right here. This is the crux of the problem. I'm just waiting for it to show up in StreamYard. Booze is legal. Drugs are not. That's not the question. I understand that the drugs are illegal. I'm saying that the drugs shouldn't necessarily be illegal because I don't see the difference between being intoxicated on one versus the other. It's not a question of the law. I understand the law. My argument is if you can be intoxicated under one substance and it's okay, and another and it's not, what is the moral reason behind this law? Because every law should be hedged in some form of morality. If there's no reason for a law to exist, then why do they exist? I don't understand this point, and I don't think it makes sense. Now, people can argue me as much as you want, but I don't think that there is a good moral argument. Coke is more likely to cause psychosis and to be mixed with other dangerous chemicals. It is not a moral question. It's a harm reduction. Well, then surely shouldn't we be consistent, though, and ban alcohol and guns as well? This is the thing that I don't think the chat's understanding. And I think people have I think it's because alcohol is so normalized in our society. Laws doesn't equal morals. Of course they don't. But the idea is that most laws should be based on some form of morality, surely. You don't just have a law for a random reason. It's because, in theory, the crime is a bad thing to do. And what is a bad thing to do? Well, it's bad for what reasons? Because of moral reasons. I hear you, you're just wrong. Well, tell me why I'm wrong. I'm interested. Alcohol is normalized because of industry money. The morality is to fight crime. The law was created to remove guns from drug dealers. Nobody thinks the drug user thinks of the drug users, but I gotta be careful reading this one, but you know what you said. Ooh, gotta be careful. Gotta be careful. We see drugs should be legal, but until they are, it makes sense to ban gun possession with drugs because dangerous drug dealers. Yeah, but that could be made into a different law, though. Like, that's very easy to change the law, right? Don't be a drug dealer and own guns. I mean, being a drug dealer itself is a very hazardous thing to a community. Going full Lawbert, I do have libertarian leanings, but I understand that the government at some point is necessary. Although I want government to be at a minimum. Anyway, we'll get. This is the soul of the chat. Get back to shitting on Rekieta. We don't want opinions. We just want you to hear say Rekieta man bad. It's okay. I understand. Don't worry. We'll get back to that. We'll get back to it. Also located in the home was over 20 grams of Rekieta coke. 20 grams of Reketamine. There you go. Bad Rekieta man. He's got drugs. Also located in the home were 26 grams of cocaine, a Schedule II substance, and 8 dosage units of Reketamine, a Schedule III controlled substance. There was evidence of use of these controlled substances also in the home. Yes, I agree. 100% coke man bad. Rekieta man, coke man bad. In the master bedroom, law enforcement located 3 snort tubes that field tested positive for cocaine, a glass container with a metal filter, and a grinder that tested positive for cocaine. Do you need to grind cocaine? I thought it came in a powder. Isn't it like... What do you like? I literally just don't know this. Maybe somebody can chat could tell me. I thought it came as like a powdered substance. Do you have to like? Does it come out as rocks that you have to crush down? I thought that was crack cocaine. I thought that was different. Like you'd smoke a rock of crack, right? It's a bit different. I don't know. Does it just get like when you've got flour and it gets all lumpy? Good coke comes in chunks for crack cocaine. Sometimes it comes in chunks from a brick. Oh, how interesting. Good cocaine comes in chunks, yes. Oh, interesting. I didn't know this. Interesting. Let me see. Where were we? The grinder that tested field positive for cocaine, a bag of cards, and a dollar bill that field tested positive for cocaine. They were playing crack poker. That sounds like a lot of fun. A digital scale that tested positive for cocaine, a metal pan that tested positive for cocaine. Now, see, the metal pan here is what makes me think they're actually cooking up crack cocaine. 2 metal cutters that tested positive for cocaine, a $100 bill that tested positive for cocaine. Hey, look, I've got a picture of that $100 bill that tested positive for cocaine. It's right here. It was sent to Sean. That's 1/3 of what he owes Monty. When's he going to pay Monty? So the 2 metal cutters that tested positive, $100 bill, and a cocaine snooper. These items are direct evidence of the use in the home, in addition to the actual controlled substances found. Also, Detective Pomplum is a trained drug recognition expert. He had his own observations of the defendant from his videos that indicated being under the influence of a controlled substance, as well as the statements of an individual from the child protection report that indicated concerns about ongoing controlled substance use by the defendant. All of this information taken together shows evidence of controlled substance use. When the law enforcement found firearms in their home, it was immediately apparent that the firearms were evidence of a crime based on the controlled substance use. There was no need to further search the firearms. Their possession as evidence of a crime, making it immediately apparent to law enforcement of their evidentiary value. Accordingly, their seizure was lawful and under plain view exception of the warrant requirement. I mean, it seems pretty cut and dry. The money could have gone to the 5K fund. The 5K fund is the 5K local gifts is never happening, guys. This is your 5K locals reward. It's his mugshot and all of the cope, pure crack copium, or liquid copium is in its most volatile form. That's what we're huffing on these streams. Ooh, let me see. Conclusion. The new goal is Aaron's criminal defense fund. Yeah, maybe. Can we hit it, chat? Can we hit the goal? Can we hit it? Don't think we'll hit it tonight. I don't even know what the goal is. We don't have it. We don't even have a goal. What is this though? Free crack pipe vending machines in Canada. Free stuff. All right, we might take a look at this after this. That can't be real. The defendant's motion should be denied in their entirety. The defendant failed to make a requisite high showing that Detective Pomplum made any material misrepresentations or omissions in the application for the search warrant. The defendant argument relied heavily on their assertion that Detective Pomplum did not view the entire video of the defendants referenced in the search warrant application. This argument completely overlooks the fact that the entire video was disclosed to the defendant at the same time as the video clip his argument hinges on. Like Nick was talking about how his motion wasn't a Hail Mary, which it absolutely was. He was talking about it being a one-hit KO. Talk about a one-hit KO. Holy shit. He had the whole evidence there at the time. And he knew about it. Nick knew about it. What a ridiculous thing to put in his thing. It's so over. It is so over, bros. It's over. It's Jova even. The information provided by Detective Pomplum was accurate and no material misrepresentations or omissions were made. The seizure of the firearms is legal under the plain view exception to the warrant requirement. Law enforcement was legally authorized to be in the defendant's home pursuant to the search warrant. While searching his home, firearms were located. The firearms were immediately recognized as evidence of a crime, as users of a controlled substance are prohibited from possessing firearms. As their evidentiary value was immediately recognized, their seizure is permitted under plain view exception. Dated August 3rd, Kristen Pierce, First Assistant Candy Ojai County Attorney, Wilmar, Minnesota. I mean, whew, that's a rough one, boys. That's a rough one. When is the next hearing going to be? That's the. I think I heard some rumors about September 5th, maybe. I don't know. I actually don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Ooh, got an interesting email just now. That is interesting. All right. What do you guys think? Is Nick going to get away with it? 1 for get away with it. 2 for he's going down. The results of the poll. Whose team are you on? 16% are Toe Bros. 8% are still in the Boldo bunker. 36% are on the big lad that Nick yelled at. And 40% liked the stream and just wanted to see the results. Pretty good poll. Pretty good poll. I should stay away from America. But I want to go to America. America seems like a nice place to visit. I want to go see the national parks. They sound really interesting. I want to go to an American pub. What do you call them? Bars over there, and then just pretend to be like really ignorant. I'll just go in there and pretend to be like a Yank, not a Yank. Sorry, I was going to say Yankee because that's what they call foreigners, kind of in Japan, but naughty foreigners, kind of. I want to go into a American pub and just pretend to be very like fresh off the boat. And we're just going there like, oh, g'day, lads. How's it over here, over across the pond? Oh, this is great. This is a lot of fun. Yeah, give me your biggest point. Do I have change? Oh, no, I don't have change. I just want to see the reaction to Americans in around America and see what it's like. We're full. Just avoid blue states. Yeah, I want to go through Central America, ironically. Although Oregon is a blue state, isn't it? And Oregon looks very nice. Like geographically, not like as a place to live. Literally the plot of Crocodile Dundee. Yes, this is the dream of all Australians, is to go over there and pretend to be ignorant and see how Americans react. Go to the Outback Steakhouse. You know in Australia what they call the outhouse. You know what they say? You know what they call the Outback Steakhouse in Australia? They just call it the steakhouse. I completely butchered that. Holy shit! Just like a Outback Steakhouse, bloomin' onion, completely torn apart. We had a Japanese exchange student when I was in high school. We laughed when she tried to say fart. She was so sweet. Yeah, Japanese people are very, very cute when they speak English. I thought Yankee is what they call delinquents in Japan. That's what I said, isn't it? Well, that's what I meant to say. Like those teenage gang mangas are called Yankee manga. Yeah, that's what it is. But it's based off Americans. Yankee is an American. But it's like the reason they call them that is because they're acting like Americans. Or they're acting like foreigners. So it's Japanese that are acting like Americans. They call them Yankees. I got called a Yankee once, which is funny. Don't simp for the GAE. What the fuck is a GAE? Is that the GAE? What is GAE? 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 What is GAE? Someone tell me, what is it? Guardian ad litem? No, wait, that would be Guardian. That'd be GAL, right? Global American Empire? Oh, is this like a term people talk about? I've never heard this before in my life. Why? Why are you Global American Empire? Yes. I see. Very clever. If you avoid blue states, you'll be left with middle of nowhere. That sounds fun to me, though. I don't like people. That's a lie, actually. US hasn't been majority ignorant hick since 1980s when they voted for Daddy Bush. Most Americans are libs by all empirics. Interesting. Global Australian Empire. If only there was such a thing. No, the Australian Empire is done as well, unfortunately. Australia is basically owned by China at this point. It's very disappointing. But there's some nice places. There's some nice places in Australia still. I think Australians and Americans can get along in quite a lot of different ways. We have. I know Americans find this hard to believe, but Australia is essentially the same size as America. The only issue is like Australia's empty, although we say it's full, but the good parts are full. The thing is, the only good part of Australia is the exterior. Nobody goes to the center except for dingoes and people trying to get rama-rama'd. But landmass-wise, Australia is essentially the same size as America. Although America has a much more diverse climate, obviously. But Australia has some very beautiful geography. Some beautiful very interesting geology, a lot of big caves. There's a cave that you could fit a jumbo jet inside called the Jenolan Cave System. Very cool. There's some gorgeous beaches. Of course, Australia has all the best beaches. Unfortunately, they're all full of crocodiles, sharks, and urukandi jellyfish. And then if you try and go into the forest, you get stung by the gimpy poisonous stinging tree. And then if you try and go to the city, you get stabbed by someone that got rammed. And then there's the deadly emus as well. It's very dangerous, very dangerous. But very strangely, New Zealand is like the most harmless country in the world. There's like no venomous insects. There's no snakes. There's some sharks, I guess, in New Zealand, but very rare, very rare. But there's basically nothing you can die of in New Zealand. Like if you die in New Zealand, it's like dying on the tutorial island. People just laugh at you if you die in the afterlife. Literally, the only way to die in New Zealand is by drinking yourself to death, or perhaps maybe you go into the wilderness during winter and get like exposure. But otherwise, there's basically no snakes and almost no spiders in New Zealand. All the spiders are just friendly. There is one spider that's, I guess, it can cause you to get a little bit sick. It's called the whitetail. But apart from that, it's nothing compared to Australian spiders. Sharks are very rude. That's true. New Zealand is a very beautiful country, don't get me wrong. But New Zealand is very samey. With the exception of Taupo and Rotorua, everyone in Australia looks the same. Everyone in New Zealand looks the same. So you can go everywhere. Basically, you can just go to one place in New Zealand. You've done New Zealand. But in Australia, there's a lot of diversity as well, but not quite as much as America, because America just has a nice geographic location. You've got deserts, beaches, canyons, forests. So yeah, it looks like it's nice places to go camping or traveling around in America. Died from Jacinda Ardern bite. That is a very dangerous one, actually. Kiwis are a surly bunch. No, they're just having a bit of a laugh. They're just having a bit of banter. You just maybe didn't handle the bants correctly. I have yet to knowingly eat emu, but I probably have eaten emu. Emu tastes like ostrich. It's actually very good for you. It's very high in protein, very low in fat, and I like it, actually. I like it. Kiwi girls are horny. That is very true. That is very true. That is very true. America has the most lol cows. Well, they've got the most farming in general, right? New Zealand is where they shot Power Rangers before they got cancelled. Well, hopefully they didn't shoot too many of them before they caught them. New Zealand is a prison colony for Australia. Kind of. Don't trust emus. Emu is asshole. Emus are actually very friendly. Emus are really cute, and they make like a booming sound. It's kind of weird. They kind of like, they have this, I guess they use their lungs or something, but it sounds like almost like almost like thunder, but very local, like very close, very like tiny thunder. And emus just boom, and they're so adorable. And they're like, they'll eat out of your hand, but their beaks are so strong that it's a little bit painful. But otherwise than that, emus are fine. It's the cassowaries you have to watch out for. They'll kill you. Nathan C says, have been watching your video in Japan on what have been watching your Japan what to do videos on your channel. We're planning a visit next year. Awesome vids. Thanks. I'll have a video coming out on my Japan channel very soon about over tourism in Kyoto and the reality of it. And I actually found out that it's not so bad unless you come in spring. In that case, it's kind of bad. But it might be interesting if you're planning a trip to Kyoto, because I do like a one-day Kyoto trip and go to the 4 biggest tourist spots. And it was a lot of fun. I had surprisingly a good time, and I would recommend that as a one-day trip. If you only have one day in Kyoto, go to those 4 spots I go in that video, which will, like I said, it'll be out in a week or something. But that was basically Arashiyama, was the bamboo forest. Then down to Fushimi-Inari, the red torii gates. Then up to Potoncho Alley for lunch, and then over to Gion to see the geishas if you can be so lucky, and then finishing the day in Kiyomizu-dera, sunset over Kyoto. Glorious day, glorious day. Have you been to Hokkaido during winter? I haven't been to Hokkaido at all. It's always on my list, but I've never, unfortunately, gone there. Have I been to Aokigahara? I have. In fact, I have a video walking around there in the rain on one of my other channels as well. I can show you what it's like. It's actually, Aokigahara I've been to many times because it's a very beautiful forest. It's very spooky at times, though. But it's all around Mount Fuji. There's like lava caves and all sorts of fun stuff. But I showed this on Jeff's channel at some point. We did I think it was like Unexplained or something, and we were watching it. But I've been there many, many times. And let me see. Here it is. Here's the video. I'll play it. Oops. I understand. Oh, there's a content warning on this because there's a content warning on this video. Oh, my goodness. So I went to Aokigahara. Well, we don't need the ceiling cats anymore, I guess. Get out of here, guys. Come on now. There's no ceiling case now. Yeah, I walked through Aokigahara. It was like 3 a.m. when I started or something, but the sun came up pretty early. But it was very spooky walking around in the dark, just exploring the forest. But very, very beautiful. It's very mossy, and there's very interesting tree formations because like it's all like it's what is it? It's all lava rock, and there's like only an inch of soil. So the trees can't put their roots down, so the roots grow above ground and they get covered in moss, and the trees grow in these weird twisted shapes. It's very cool. It's very cool. Akigahara. You want to eat yakiniku? Yeah, yakiniku is good. Have you ever been? I've never met an Ainu person before, because I haven't been to Hokkaido. Did you run into the Paul brothers? No, but I found a lot of the death camps. So what happens when people do is they, in fact, it's kind of funny because I guess it's not really funny at all actually, but so what people do is they go and they camp in the forest before that, while they build up the nerve to make the final decision of whether they're going to do it or not. So they have little camping things, but it's very easy to get lost in the forest because it's full of iron in the soil, which confuses compasses and GPS and everything. And it's because of the twisting roots and everything, it's very difficult to find your way back. So people tie strings to the road, like the main trail through the forest, and then the string goes to their camp, which will be like 100 meters into the forest or something. So if you're walking through Aokigahara and you find a string, if you follow it, you'll always find like a campsite. And usually what you'll find is like a tent, abandoned camping supplies, and sometimes you find something very horrible, of course. One time I went there and I found some pretty messed up shit. And the Yakuza apparently go through and they kind of like go grave robbing essentially in the spring. And the locals also have to do like a yearly body cleanup after the snow stops, because like people off themselves around Christmas when it's snowing, and the snow doesn't melt until like March or something. So the locals will go through looking for anybody that's like left behind essentially, and bag them and send them away. Am I a fan of Chris Broad? Yeah. Actually, interestingly, if you watch Chris Broad in Japan's videos, a lot of my content is actually on his channel because I do a lot of stock footage clips and things like that. So I've never met him. He doesn't know me, but a lot of the things that I've shot are on his channel. In particular, off the top of my head, some aerial shots for a journey across Japan. A lot of the shots from Yakushima when he went to the islands. He used a couple of my shots for his Frozen North journey when he went to, like, he was driving across the Frozen North. Those were aerial footage of Aomori in the snow. I don't watch his content anymore because, like, when you make content about a thing, you kind of stop watching the content of that thing because you kind of get not bored of it, but you feel like you do want to do it yourself. It's like, it's kind of weird to watch things that you're doing in a similar genre, because maybe you'll see a video which is something you want to make and then you decide not to make it. What is the name of my Japan channel? You can send me a DM. Send me a DM if you want. I'll send you a link to it. Or just join in the Discord. Do you get paid for stock footage? Yes, of course. It's not for free. I get paid pretty well for it, actually. But not as much as it used to pay, unfortunately. Unfortunately, like, the stock footage, stock photography is a dying industry. But if you have a very big portfolio, you can still make money. But it's not like it used to be. Like, you used to be able to get like $200 for like a 4K clip that was about 20 seconds long. But now, because of AI and because of subscription models and things like that, it's definitely going down in a big way, which is sad because it used to be quite lucrative. Did you go to the place where monkeys take a bath? Yeah, of course. That's some of the footage that I've sold as well. In fact, I have a video about that actually on my channel as well. I've been to. It's called. Hold on a second. I can show you. The video. Hold on a second. It wasn't a very popular video on my channel though. Let me see. It was called. Oops. I had a little ad. It's called Japan's Best Winter Travel: Snow Monkeys of Nagano. This is one of my videos. It only got about 2,000 views though, but it was very, very beautiful indeed. The monk. This is all my footage, and you can even see me walking around in the snow. This was several years ago though, I think. But it's really cool. It's really beautiful. The snow is just like gorgeous up there, and yeah, there was like monkeys and stuff. Very, very adorable. Very adorable. You can actually see snow monkeys pretty late in the year. Oh, these shots were really nice. Like when I got the snow shots were so perfect. Oh my goodness, I was loving it over there. Like it's so beautiful, so much like snow and stalactites and things. And I got some really nice aerial. And these are like geothermal vents and things. And the sun was coming up. I always travel in the morning when I go traveling because I want to get those nice like golden hour shots. And the shots for this episode just turned out perfect. I was very, very happy with this one. Very, very cool indeed. There's an aerial shot of the valley. I think that's at the beginning, and that one is that one's one of my favorite shots I ever taken actually. Because I go to Nagano, right? And this shot, I really like this shot. I was so happy because you've got this is the town. This is a geothermal river. This is a hot water river that runs through the town. Obviously, it's covered in snow. You've got the mountains covered in snow. You've got the mist covering the valley. Oh my goodness, this shot was so good. I was very happy when shooting this video. So very, very, very cool. Who drove you there? I took the train. You wanker. But yeah, this is a hot water river. It's not that hot, but all of these are like onsen houses, so you can stay there. It's very, very cool. And I got some nice photos of Matsumoto Castle as well. So that's the only black castle. Well, actually, there's a couple, but like it's one of the original ones. It's they call it the Crow Castle because typically a Japanese castle is white. In fact, the word for castle in Japanese is shiro, which means white. But when it's connected to a place, it becomes jo because of the way that the kanjis are just confusing. So like Nagano, it'd be called Nagano Jo, Nagano Castle. Osaka Castle, Nagano, Osaka Jo. But if it was just by itself, castle is shiro. But Matsumoto Castle is the only one of the few black castles, and it was falling apart, and like it was like leaning on a side, like Leaning Tower of Pisa or whatever. But they got together and fixed it up. But there was all this hot water running in the morning. Very, very beautiful. Be careful, baby. No, fine. Let me see. But yeah, I'm very, very happy to answer questions about Japan. Rocking in Osaka. I want to go over to Korea and do like because one of my biggest videos on my channel was called 2 weeks in Japan itinerary. And that video did very well. I want to do 2 weeks in Korea as well, but I have to set aside a time to go over there, and it'll probably take me like a month to film or something, even though it's only for a 2-week itinerary, because I want to spend like a lot of time doing different morning shots of everywhere. I'll have to talk to Andrew and also Jeff about their like secret spots in Korea, so I can do like a really cool. Weird how small South Korea actually is. Well, that's the thing. Not a lot of people know about Korea, but it's very it's very cool country. It's got its own interesting shit. Jeju Island especially I want to go to. But I can actually take a ferry from Osaka, where I am at the moment, to Busan. It's a 24-hour ferry, but it only costs $80. So I'll probably make a video about doing that. But like I said, I've got some important business stuff to do in September. So maybe after September I can do that. But I want to do it before it gets cold again, and we've still got a couple months left before that, though. Korea would be a cool visit. Yeah, it would, absolutely. Avoid the Chinese propaganda museums in Jeju. That sounds really interesting, though. That sounds really interesting. Never take the last train to Busan. You know, I've actually never seen Train to Busan, but I really want to take the train to Busan. But the thing is, if I went to Busan, I'd be taking the train to Seoul. But I guess I could take the train back to Busan. But I know it's a good movie, like a zombie movie that I want to see. Japanese surprised when you speak to them. Well, I don't really speak that fluently. I speak very serviceable Japanese, so I can get everything I need done. I can have a friendly conversation, but it's not like I'm not going to be confused as a local. But Japanese people are very surprised when you speak any Japanese. So yes, is kind of the answer to that question. If you just order from a menu or even just say hello, people will be like, oh wow, your Japanese is so good. Well, technically what they say is Nihongo Jozu, which just means Japan skilled. And if you use chopsticks, they'll say like, oh, Ohashi Jozu, like good with chopsticks. And some people this is something that's really funny about foreigners that live in Asia or any abroad really, is that when the locals say you're so good at using chopsticks, there is a group of people that get so angry. They're like, of course I'm good at chopsticks. I can tie my own shoelaces too. Do you think I'm retarded or something? And it's not that they really think that you're really good at using the item. It's that they're looking for anything to talk to you about because they're probably like nervous talking to you. So they're just looking for anything to be nice. And they're looking for a way it's like how's the weather, basically. It's like when someone comes up to you and they're like, how's the weather? They don't really give a shit about the weather. They just don't know what to say, and they're trying to be friendly. But then some people are like, well, the weather, that's so boring. How could you you must have a book on how to talk to people because you're autistic. No. But it's strange because there are this group of foreigners that are very anal about it, and they get really mad about it. And I never understood it. What is this? Baka? Is this Baka Gaijin? Or is it? I think it's Baka, right? It's like the horse steer. It must be Baka Gaijin. Or is it bad? There's also like another one. There you go. Nihongo Jozu right there. There you go. Nihongo Jozu. Very good, very good. Sugoi, yes, it is indeed. My friend that's on my channel on Friday, BP, he's very good at Japanese. With the exception with reading. But reading is the only difference. It separates an N2 from an N1. Weeb nonsense, yeah. But interesting, yeah. How dare you compliment me, you SOB? Let me see what else we got here. Watashi wa hamburger. Yes, I am hamburger. Business in September. Is Nick Rekieta in some trouble? No, I know people joke, but I do actually do a lot of shit over here, and I'm very busy. Memoirs of a Geisha is a great read. I saw some geisha. Like, actually, the video that I'm making now is about, again, I said over tourism, but also about Meiwaku Gaikokujin, or nuisance foreigners, which is a group of naughty foreigners. And there's this footage of which is really cringe, where there's this American woman and she's chasing a geisha around Gion, which is like the geisha district, although they call them geiko in Kyoto. And it kind of made the rounds with Japanese nationals because it's very popular to say that foreigners are the reason that things go bad, even though technically it's such a small subset of the travelers that come here, because millions of people come to Japan every year. But when I was filming in Kyoto, and that was last week, I think on Wednesday, I saw a geisha, which is actually quite rare during the day. No, not geisha. No, not like that. Not like that. I see what you did there. I see what you did there. But I have some nice shots of some geisha just wandering around Kyoto as well. The trick is not to bother them. You just, if you can take a quick selfies, a quick shot of them is fine, but don't interrupt them. They're just working. They've got shit to do. If you want to get some nice photos of a geisha, you can just go to a geisha performance or hire a geisha for dinner or something, because that's what they do. They're like dinner entertainers basically, and then you can get all the shots you want. But what happens is when they're going between their houses or whatever, they get harassed in Gion. And Gion's a very nice part of oops, I forgot to show this meme today. I like my whiskey like I like my daughter, 9-year-old and mixed with Coke. I forgot to show that. Sorry, that's a bonus for the people that were still sticking around. It's a bit rude, but it's very funny. Let me see. No, geisha aren't hookers. That's not the reality. They're entertainers. Like the gay in geisha means like art, and sha means like person, so it's like artistic person basically. They're now in members of the geisha. I think traditionally they would sell off their virginity, and then maybe they would have like one like sugar daddy or something, but they're not actually like in the wet work or whatever. I don't think they sell their virginities these days at all. That's something from a bygone era. Have you ever done a video in geishas? Not inside them. On? No, I haven't done one on geishas because, frankly, it's just very expensive to go see a geisha. Not like it's prohibitively expensive. I think it's like an evening with a geisha is like $300 or something. But it just wasn't something that I was really interested in, because most of my interests are in travel, exploring the countryside, nature and stuff. Although that's a really good idea because a lot of people do want to have like an evening with a geisha or something. So I might steal that as an idea for one of my future videos. That's actually a really good idea. So planned video when? That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Yes, $300 and no happy ending. Very sad, very sad. No, it's not like a girlfriend experience or something. What a geisha does is they're entertainers. So you'll have like a group of people, not like at a Rekieta party group of people, but you'll have like a group of like businessmen. They'll go and they'll have dinner, and the geisha will come have dinner with you, and they'll sing, they'll play the shamisen, they'll make jokes. They're well versed in conversation and political topics, and you just talk to them, and they'll pour your drinks and smile and laugh at your jokes. That's what they do. That's what they do. I guess is that the girlfriend experience? I don't know. They pour you drinks, laugh at you, and they don't have sex with you. So I guess that is the girlfriend experience. Let me see. Excum with the 50 says, turns out a bidet is French in origin, and they got a bad rep for being used in brothels since whores needed to wash between costumes. That's actually very interesting. But every toilet except for the squatty potty has the bidet, which is quite nice actually. Let's see, like the clubs in Tokyo Vice. I haven't seen Tokyo Vice. I heard it's very good though. I think I watched like the first episode only. But Tokyo Vice is apparently very good and quite accurate. Let me see. Let me see what else. What if your jokes aren't funny? You have to pay extra. It's like $20 per laugh. It's quite high. No, I'm just kidding. No, they'll be happy to laugh at your jokes. But like that sort of stuff is very common in Japan. Like they have girls' bars, which is like you go and all the bartenders are women, and it's usually all you can drink, and it's actually pretty good prices. Like it's actually cheaper than going to a regular bar, and sometimes depending on how much you drink, because it's nomihoudai, all you can drink. And the girls will just like be interested in talking to you and laugh at your jokes, and then you go home to your wife. Basically, it's very popular in Asia, but it doesn't make a lot of sense in English countries. It's a model that I don't think we can replicate. But like maid cafes are an example of that as well. Maid cafes are just girls' bars, but all the girls are wearing maid outfits. It's exactly the same. Japan is actually a drinking culture. Absolutely, they are. It's there was some concern earlier in the year or last year that young people weren't drinking as much, and it might destroy the economy because a lot of people don't. A lot of younger people are just like not drinking these days. How do you say baldo in Japanese? That would unironically be barudo, because there's a secret trick to Japanese that if you just speak in like Japanese pronunciation, a lot of people understand it. So basically, Japanese works is it's consonant vowel consonant vowel consonant vowel. So a good example is like Starbucks is Starbucks or Starbar for short. And if you get stuck in Japan, if you try speaking like a racist Japanese person, it actually is very helpful. It feels really bad, but actually doing that is very effective. An example of this actually is like there's a lot of loan words in Japan as well. So like hiking is hiking. And I think we were talking to someone in Japan, and I think Andrew laughed at me because he's like, oh, you didn't know the word for hiking. You said hikingu instead. And I was like, no, that's actually what people say. But oftentimes you can just get away with saying that sort of stuff. Yeah, Sam's got it. This is exactly how you would say baldo. Barudo. That would be baldo. Toilet isn't toilet though. It's toire. But again, it's kind of like a word that's been kind of changed from English. Toire. How much for how much? No, that's not really like that. But if you do speak slowly, then people can usually understand you. For 20 North, we got a lot of Coronas today, a lot of Norwegians. 20 Coronas says, I want to visit the traditional, I guess this is knife makers? I'm not sure why you had to censor that, but I assume knife. Yeah, you can get nice knives in Japan all over the place. They make great souvenir gifts. They're very cool, those. I think, like, of the Asian languages, Japanese is probably the easiest. Because, like, Japanese pronunciation is so easy. Korean pronunciation is incredibly difficult. There's a lot of sounds in Korean that English people just don't have. So when people like think about how you know, Japanese people always can't say L and R, they say furaito or something like that. They kind of make fun of them. Korean people also make fun of white people because we can't pronounce like I think it's like a gui sound. It's like gui or something like that. It's like something like that. You'd have to ask Jeff about that. But Korean pronunciation is really difficult, and their honorifics are even worse than I think in Japanese, because there's such a hierarchy system. You have to speak in these different ways to people that are above your social standard. The difficult part with Japanese is definitely the learning the 3 different alphabets. So you've got hiragana and katakana, which are easy. Then kanji is very difficult. I think Chinese sounds like a nightmare to learn. Although apparently Chinese writing is easier than Japanese writing, because all the sounds in Chinese are consistent, whereas the sounds in Japanese aren't. You can have one kanji that could have a different pronunciation based on the context. Is Japanese a tonal language? No. No, it isn't. It's pronounced just how it's written, which is why I'm saying it's one of the easier Asian languages to learn. Thai was hard to learn, but the rising and falling vowels. Yeah, I think that would be very difficult for me. Australians have a difficulty pronouncing vowels full stop. Like, just watch that video called Teaching an Australian to Say No. Pronounced no. No. It's very funny. It's very funny. BP sends it to me constantly. I walked into a bar in Tokyo and had there was a weird vibe. And then the bartender told me it was a Japanese-only bar. The thing with this is that does happen a lot. There are a lot of Japan-only bars. Well, not that many, honestly. But it's not because they don't like foreigners. It's because Japanese people want to give good service. That's part of the culture. And if you can't speak Japanese, they can't give you good service. So as a result, oh my goodness, the chat has disappeared. So as a result, they just say they just say Japanese only, because they don't want to give you bad service. And if they are actually just racist and they don't like the non-Japanese, then you don't want to go to that bar anyway. But there's also something in Japan called like members only bars, where you have to be invited in. And usually they just say Japanese only when it's like members only, because it's too difficult to explain to foreigners that they can't join as a member that day. So when people see like Japanese only bars, don't get offended. There's always another bar anyway. So like, I'm not that's what really perplexes me about America, is when you have the like the people that are like, they're not going to bake the cake for my husband's wedding. Because I'm a man, they don't want to bake the cake. Bake the cake, bigot. I'm like, why would you want a bigot baking your cake anyway? Like, just go to somewhere else. Like, I wouldn't trust a bigot to bake my cake if that was what I was doing. It doesn't make sense. It's just a power thing, though. They don't really care about the cake. It's about exerting their power over someone that doesn't want to do business with them. But again, it's very silly from the when you see that sort of stuff. Foreigners are super entitled. They absolutely are. There's a lot of video compilations going around where like Japanese people are being very polite and foreigners are screaming at them like, "Tell me where your manager is," and they're just like the Japanese people are just like sumimasen. And just Americans that are used to getting their way come over to Japan and they can't get it, and they get very upset. It's very strange. Bake your own cake isn't hard. I prefer a homemade cake. I think that putting effort into making a gift or baking a cake or something makes it better. Maybe not on a taste level, but it's the thought that counts. It's the emotion that makes it valuable. At least in my opinion. Karens in Asia are very funny. I have noticed a few of them. I have some funny stories about that, actually. For example, like when COVID ended, Andrew came over to visit Legal Mindset, and we were walking around Kyoto Station, me and him, and we weren't wearing masks because we were outside, and there was no mask mandate in Japan, of course. In fact, Japanese law could not actually mandate mask wearing. They only politely asked everyone to wear masks. But anyway, nobody gave a shit. Nobody gave a shit except for one person. There was one person on the elevator in front of us. She turned around. She looked at us, not wearing our masks. She and her boyfriend were wearing their masks. And she scowled at us and gave us the dirtiest look. And she wasn't Japanese. She was American. The only person that got offended was an American. It was really funny. Very, very funny indeed. Kaleidoscope with a $5 says, if you're polite, show respect, and speak the language, many times they will let you into the bar. I've done it many times. Very true. Very true. If you show even a little bit of Japanese or a little bit of good manners, you'll be surprised how quickly those no Japanese signs come down. I imagine the place that he went was probably somewhere like in Shinjuku, maybe like Golden Guy or something, where it was like members only, and there was a few places that only served Japanese because of the language barrier. People still have masks on their avatars on Reddit. That's sad. The funny thing is with the masks is that, so I didn't wear a mask whenever I wasn't required to mask, obviously. But a lot of my videos have people in masks because Japanese people wear masks as a matter of course. It's something they were doing before COVID, and it's something they do after COVID. But I get a lot of angry Americans in my comments on my Japanese videos. Sometimes saying, I can't believe there's so many brainwashed drones wearing masks. And it's like, well, first of all, a lot of this footage is from when COVID happened. And second of all, Japanese people just always wear masks. And they do that because they're just trying to be polite. And also some women don't want to wear makeup. So sometimes they wear masks just because they don't feel like doing their makeup that day. So it's... I don't know. People get viscerally angry about it in a very strange way. But it's kind of unfortunate though, because I wish that a lot of my footage didn't have people wearing masks in it, honestly, because I think it's more aesthetic if they're not, and that's what I'm really interested in. Why do they keep in Japan? It's just something they've always done. Like Asian people in general always wear masks. Have always worn masks whenever they feel sick. It's just to be polite, because I guess they don't want to be seen sniffing or coughing and things or something. But yeah, nobody forced them to wear it. They're all doing it by their own volition. Chinese dust as well, I suppose, yeah, in Japan. The Chinese dust, if you're unaware, is something that happens in the beginning of summer in Japan. The winds start blowing over from China, and I think it's mostly just tree pollen sap or something. But this yellow dust covers every surface. I think it's pine spores or something. But they blame China. They're like, well, this is obviously sand from China. It's this dirty Chinese sand. This unironically is something I've had a conversation with when I lived in when I was working in a Japanese office. But very, very funny. I assume it's pines, but who knows? There's a lot of what are they called? Cedars, sugis in Japan. They planted them after World War II. And a lot of Japanese people get hay fever in Japan. So you see a lot of masks during spring. A lot of Americans are all extreme navel gazers. What's a navel gazer? Is it someone that's just looking down all the time? I assume. I haven't heard that term before. The Chinese sand, they're stealing it from Pacific Islands. Well, that's true. They are doing that. I actually really like cedar trees. Yakushima, which is... So we were talking about Japan videos. I'll show you my Yakushima video. That's one of my favorite videos. Yakushima has a very special place in my heart. And it is such a beautiful island. It's actually the inspiration for the movie Princess Mononoke. And there's actually the Mononoke Forest. And so someone was talking about Chris Broad earlier. A lot of my shots in this video, you will notice in Chris Broad's video. And I can actually show the exact shots. Flying over Anbu. Was it Ambo, the town? And then a lot of, I got double ads. Oh my goodness. I'm not even logged into my other team. But this is a very old video in my channel, so it's very amateur. Although it was 3 years ago, I guess. So I've been doing this for 3 years. This is Yakushima. It's just an island. It's like almost the furthest south you go before Okinawa. You can stay here. There's a campsite here. And this is a coral reef down here. And every time I've gone here, because I go in summer, there's always baby sea turtles hatching when I go out. It's so beautiful. It's unbelievably, it's like criminally beautiful in Yakushima. And it's near Sakurajima as well. It's just like this big granite island that rises out of the ocean. And you can see monkeys there riding deer and stuff. But look how beautiful it is. It's so cool. And it's just so gorgeous. All of the forests and everything. And I had a really good experience every time I've gone there. On the boat ride over, you can see flying fish, although I never really got any good photos of them. But you can buy flying fish as like a omiyagi. Like meibutsu is like a famous thing in Japan, and every area has its own meibutsu. So the Yakushima is the flying fish. You can see them there, but it's so gorgeous, this island. Yeah, you can even see tracks in the sand where turtles are coming ashore to lay their eggs in summer. I saw some snakes there. It was kind of cool. I like Japanese snakes. They're so friendly. It's so friendly. But then the hiking is the best part. When you go to the Mononoke forest, you follow this train. You go up this trail through the forest, and there's this. It's up to maybe 5,000 years old. Nobody really knows the exact age of the Jomon Sugi, the Jomon Seer. But this forest is unbelievably gorgeous, and it's just so cool. And there's this one in particular. There's these giant cedars. This is what I wanted to talk about. There's these second generation cedars. So there's cedars that they cut down, but then the cedar grows out of the stump. So you get like these two-tiered trees. But one of them is called the Wilson stump, and it's so big that you can fit a man my size inside it. So this is the tree stump. You go inside the tree stump. It's like a hobbit hole almost. Wait, no, actually, that's not the part of the video when I go inside it. Here it is. So these are it actually looks like the Mononoke forest, like with all the moss and everything. And yeah, you go inside this giant tree stump, the Wilson stump, on the Okabu Trail. And I'm about 6'3", so 191 centimeters. So that's how big this tree stump is. You can fit like 10 people inside the tree stump. There's even a river running through it. There's a little shrine. And when you look up at the right angle, it forms a heart. It's just like, it's insane how aesthetic this island is. They call it the heart of the forest. I came to this island purely by chance. And it was a friend invited me to go because one of their friends canceled. And it was probably the best place I've ever visited. And this is they've got like these seaside onsens you can go to. This one is a co-ed onsen. So when I went here, we actually went male and female nude in the hot water here, and you can only go here at the right tide. At low tide, it's boiling hot. At high tide, it's completely underwater. But at the tide when we went, it was perfect, and also the sun was setting. So it was a really cool experience. It was a bit weird at first, I'll be honest. But after like a few minutes, it was fine. I guess that's like, like the Europeans, they're already used to it and everything. But there's all these little mud skippers too. It was such a beautiful place to just take a bathtub. And then I went and found all the sea turtles. So like I said, I always find sea turtles when I go there. And they're so cute. So adorable. We just went to the beach and the sea turtles just started hatching. And then like they're just like swimming around. And I just happen to have my GoPro with me. And this is kind of a cool shot. It like swims through my friend's legs by mistake, and I just happened to get the right shot. And then they've got all these waterfalls there as well. This is this shot in particular. This shot was in the Chris Broad Yakushima video. The aerial shot of this waterfall is in one of Chris's videos, and I saw his video, and I was like, "What the fuck isn't?" I thought that was my shot, and that was the first time I noticed it. And then I went through some of his videos, and I saw like a lot of my footage was actually in his videos, because obviously, if you're trying to finish a video and you don't have the right shots, it's there's no problem with just picking up a few clips to try and illustrate your point. But very, very cool. Very cool. Place to go. Best place in Japan, in my opinion. And I even got to swim with sea turtles. I found a sea turtle with my drone, and dive in, go see one, go swim with one, and it's all cute. Look at that, green sea turtles. I think these. I don't know. I'm not good at identifying turtles, but I think it was a sea turtle. But I'm really, really happy with their footage. So cute. Just finding turtles. Oh, this one was so friendly. This guy was so friendly. Look at that guy. And this baby one is so. I like this shot too, because I was trying to get both in and out of the water, and it worked pretty well. I think this is what it's like in Yakushima. Very, very cool place to go. This is one of the first videos I ever made actually for this channel. So it was very cool. Very cool. Very cool. I was a Canadian man, not a sea turtle. Clear water. Yeah, it's very beautiful. I think Yakushima is probably better than any place in Japan. Although I haven't been to Okinawa just yet. Yeah. I've never eaten a sea turtle. Only abos are allowed to do that in Australia. They have indigenous rights, so I've never tasted sea turtle soup. Yeah, if you guys have travel questions about Japan, I'm very happy to answer them on Twitter or email, or even if you join the Discord. As if you join a YouTube member, you get access to the secret Discord. It's not secret. It's just if you put like a membership barrier between it, it keeps a lot of the riffraff out. Because a lot of the trolls don't want to spend $2 because they're too broke. They're all brokies. But yeah, don't sniff petrol. That's not good. That's what I was always telling people about opal petrol in Australia. So the Aboriginals smell so much petrol, they made a petrol that has no odor. It's called opal petrol in Australia. Have you ever been to the mountain that's supposedly the entrance to hell? No, I'm not sure what that is. I haven't heard of it. There's a lot of... That's probably in a Jigoku Dani. So Jigoku means hell, and Dani means valley, so Hell Valley. The place where you see the snow monkeys is called Jigoku Dani, but there are many Jigoku Danis around Japan. I would assume that there's another cave that has geothermal energy around it, and that's probably maybe like Niigata or something. I don't know. It's dangerous in it. It is. True it is. I had a pet turtle, but he got too big, so we gave him to the zoo. Like an actual turtle? Like a turtle, and not like a tortoise or a terrapin? Because most people have like the Asian red slideria turtle. They're terrapins. If we're getting accurate about it. I swear my back starts locking up around mile 6 of hiking. The Jomonsugi hike is very long. It takes a long time to go there because it's like a full day from like 6 a.m. to like 8 p.m. Florida box turtle. That's surely a tortoise. Like, let me see. Florida box. Oh no, it says turtle. Okay, let's see. Florida box turtle. Okay, it's a turtle apparently. Wait a minute. Box turtle. So these terrapins. I feel like this is a terrapin. I know it says terrapin in its name, so I think it's technically a terrapin, but I don't know. It's not important. It's not important. It's cute. It's very cute though. This is very adorable. Very adorable indeed. But I already had a pond turtle, and my dad found an endangered turtle on land that was going to have construction done on it. Oh, interesting. Tortoise is a type of turtle. Well, I mean, technically, I suppose. Technically. All right. This has been a fun little after stream chat with you guys. But I think I should probably get back to work. Otherwise, that Lord of the Rings video is never going to come out. And I do want to get it out either today, well, I guess tomorrow, or the next day, because time is always an element of these things. Let me see if there's anyone streaming right now. Unless there's anything else to talk. I don't think there's anything else to talk about. It's like in the middle of the morning for... There's Max Murrow, though. Oh, here's somebody that's streaming. Look at that. This guy's streaming. There we go. Copy that link. And where is it? There we go. Edit. How's it going, Max? We got to get Max a real mouse so he can play. He can properly play. So he can properly play Escape from Hell. There we go. All right. That's it, guys. Stream's over. Thanks for joining us. You can always submit topics you want me to talk about on Twitter, email. You can find that on my YouTube channel, or best of all, Discord if you are a member. I give priority to members, of course. But I do read everything that I get sent in. We'll be back maybe in a couple of days. We'll see. There should be a video from me either tomorrow or the next day with Lord of the Rings. If you're looking forward to that. Rings of Power, it's not good. It's a very bad show, but it's fun to laugh at. And hopefully the video will entertain you without having to watch it. Until then, I will see you next time, and peace.